Oh, yeah. Oh. We live. Welcome, halo saudara-saudara. Gak sabar nih anjir. Iya udah deh. Game pertama, PRX versus Edward Gaming. Dan game kedua BO3 juga ya. Anjir berapa lama nih game ya? Itu Leviathan atau Live versus Team Liquid. Oh shit, this two match is gonna be so great to watch actually, and ya mari kita menunggu 4 menit lagi 5 menit lebih tepat. Selagi kita menunggu, ngapain guys? Kita nyari orang guys. Nyari orang di mana, Buang? Musiknya main juga. Pam 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 pam. Another one? Yes. Gak sabar deh anjir. Sekarang kita membaca chat official. Who is Edward and why is he gaming? Hashtag Valorant champions. That was a good question. Who is Edward? Mau ngopi ini. Miras bro. Ding, ding. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Let's go watch it.
We've seen Challengers, Masters, Last Chance qualifiers. Now it's time for the grand finale. Hello, Merhaba, and welcome to Valorant Champions. We are coming to you live from the VW Arena here in Istanbul, Turkey, to kick off 16 days of competition. The world's best teams are here, and in the end, one of them will be taking home the trophy and the title of being world champion. I'm your host, Yingsu, and I'm here today in the studio on the desk, joined by Achilles and Mimi. Welcome back.
Yeah, glad to be back in action. I mean, the stage is sick, this venue is sick, and it's just so good to be here in Turkey with the players for Champs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been here for a little while, not since last year, but it's a pleasure to be back for Champions once more, and then I can't wait till we fill this arena with screaming fans, because that's something that, while we've had a little bit of LAN action over
what was that?
nothing to this scale, so I'm super excited to see these seats filled.
Yeah, and also I know you're excited to see your boys back as well.
Oh, of course.
You're back with PRX. We're going to talk about the teams in due course, but I want to kick things off by some things that you guys might be excited for. I want to know what you're most excited for coming into this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot to be excited about, but I think
You asked about me.
It's just that so many of these teams we have seen just recently at Copenhagen.
I'm gonna root for Boom Esport, and it's like, yo, man, it's in the pride, man. Let's go.
New ideas. The meta might have changed. We might have seen some of these switch ups with new patches coming into the mix. So I'm excited to see kind of our old friends become something new at this event.
And for me, it's about the new faces that are coming into this, because we have EDG joining us. They're able to qualify through the East Asia LCQ. This is going to be their first time playing against widespread international competition, and during this tournament, they looked absolutely incredible. They went 9-0, did not drop a single map on their road here, and it was just crazy from them, out from the outset.
Yeah, it was absolutely absurd, and this is the first time that we see any Chinese players being able to come out and make it to one of these international events. And I mean, just some of the individuals on this squad have looked absolutely absurd. They look like just a completely coordinated unit. They play a style unlike anyone else.
At every twist and turn, like, they are very much playing off of each other. They know how to play like a team, even when you get into chaotic moments. Everybody is communicating incredibly well in the squad.
What I said earlier as well, we're not the only people that are excited about this team. I think there's a lot of hype. I can't remember the last time that a team has been this hyped, given they've never played on an international stage before, so they have a lot to prove. But you know me, I love Turkey. Seni seviyorum Turkey. I have to bring up the fact that we finally managed to get to Istanbul. We have a Turkish player in the tournament as well. And Mimi, there's the last world champion, CNED. He was Turkish. We went to him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Althea can do here.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a run back. And I'm sure for the Turkish fans, it's going to be so exciting to have one of their own here on the stage once they get into this arena. I mean, most of the tickets are already completely sold out. This event is going to be insane once the Turkish fans get into the venue.
Yeah, and I mean, the support that you get when you go and you play in your own region or your own city and whatnot, the fans, they obviously are well aware that they're going to show so
it's like your home base, and
that can also
you
be
can
a little
participate
overwhelming
in
at
the
times. So
world
hopefully
greatest
he's able to just say,
tournament.
like, okay, I'm really excited as well, guys, but stay focused on the game. But it's going to be great to see.
Yeah, and of course the agents we're going to see as well. It's going to be interesting to see what teams are going to be bringing, because Champions will be played on patch 5.04, which means there's going to be a couple of changes. I think let's start with the one that is now no longer a troll pig, Mimi. Phoenix is viable now.
He's viable, maybe not going to be fully into the meta quite yet, but some of those changes coming through, his flash finding that far shorter duration has made him a little bit more prevalent. We've seen him out of EMEA with Scream playing on this agent. We've seen him some in NA with the LCQ over there, and generally it's looked pretty solid. He almost acts as kind of a second KO in a lot of these compositions, a self-sufficient flasher that on top of that has a really good ultimate that is constantly recharging. I think it's a really cool pocket pick that we might get to see here at Champs.
Yeah, I was hoping that we were going to get a little bit of that over the East Asia.
Yo, smile a bit.
Picked it, even though OnSlayers kind of promised in their video that they were going to. So what's up with that, guys? Anyway, I'm excited to see some Phoenix plays because while I have been watching the other regions, it's been incredible to see.
Yeah, but also Chamber, maybe
Kakak Andiki nggak senyum anjir.
kind of filtered out after what happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's undergone a couple of nerfs to say the very least. The reduced TP length is one of the hardest hitting things about him because I think like economically wise, like sure, having fewer headhunter bullets in the start of pistol rounds and whatnot, that does suck. But if you are a good sheriff player, you'll still be able to find value with those. Not being able to get to super advantageous positions and then TP out to complete safety, that's where it's really going to hurt Chamber. Talked a little bit to a couple different players who will remain unidentified, and they've said that from what they've been seeing, you're going to see Chamber not as prevalent on every single map. He's still going to be very good in certain places, but expect to see maybe some Killjoy Cypher replacing him.
Yeah, and I think he gets to the point that we want to see more agents in the Valorant meta where they can be played, but it's not a necessity. For so long, pretty much every team was playing him pretty much all the time. But these changes, I think the biggest hurt points are that early game economy you talked about, and some of those cheeky one-off Chamber spots. You can't play that anymore. It's a lot more difficult to set up in those crazy off angles, even when you are playing that jet, now that that dash needs to be activated. So I think the agent is a little bit more punishable now, which is it's a great change to see.
About time.
Yeah.
And a lot of you I know in chat right now is going to be asking, are we going to see Pearl? Is Pearl going to be played at Champions? What I can tell you is that Pearl is in the competitive map.
Oh,
unfortunately,
okay.
Mimi, we had to say goodbye to Split.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really all that unfortunate, but it is good to see Pearl in the mix. This map has been absolutely awesome to watch in some smaller tournaments and to kind of play in ranks. There's a lot of potential.
Split has been removed from the map. Oh my
god. Other
god.
maps. It's very much like there's no set gimmick.
But Pearl's great. I mean, Pearl's good. The one is I don't like is like just fracture.
On the mid control.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see like
Map fracture tuh kayak
how are they going to approach this one?
fucking serious map ever.
There's so many different spots to cover. So teamwork I think is going to have to be through the roof. Also, God knows like what's it's going to look like when we start seeing like post-plant setups really for this map at the professional level. I've already seen people diving into it when the map was released and they found some pretty wild ones. So I'm excited to see what the pros can do if they bring it out. Because for the LCQ teams in particular, it's a big question of will they leave that open because they didn't have nearly as much time to scrim on this.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see the comms for sure. We talk about new map, but also we have a few new faces, new players. Here at Istanbul, some players who have never attended international tournaments before.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with a face from EMEA. I'm sure you guys expected this, but Demasik is coming in for Team Liquid. To EMEA fans, Demasik has been a player that's been around for a very, very long time. One of the first players to get picked up as well back during the beta when everything was coming out. He stood in for Team Liquid at LCQ. They looked really, really good, Mimi. It's just about whether he could do it on that stage.
Yeah, I mean, this guy has been really solid in his history. You may remember him from kind of...
He reminds me like a Pasha.
For his role in Team Liquid, he's kind of coming in as a pretty solid flex. I think
Pasha
Team Liquid for a while
CS:GO.
was having kind of an issue with identity, and he's fixed that for them.
For me, it's all about Kong Kong here from EDG. Yes, that is how you say his name, just in case you weren't aware. He is just absolutely insane. We saw him primarily like, basically nothing with Chamber during that event, so I'm really curious to see if he's going to go back to his roots where he used to be a bit of a jet main and what they're going to change up to really enable him. Because I think that if you want to just continue to force the Chamber, he is somebody that can absolutely get away with it on any map and continue to find value. But if he wants to change up, I'm also excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming out of North America, we have Derek. This guy was absolutely on fire in the NALCQ. By the numbers, he was the best clutcher of that event. And if you compare him to the Copenhagen team, he was like the second best clutcher in that event as well if he had been there. This guy is absurd as an individual, and the role that he plays for 100 Thieves is super impactful.
Karena Bumi Sport ada di sini, jadi kayak sorry, gue mau dukung Bumi Sport. And maybe and PRX for sure.
Such an exciting squad to watch because it's not just him. Every one of these players is really kind of stepping up. Their supportive line is unparalleled, and Derek is the biggest part of that.
Yeah, I remember hearing about his performance. I woke up, saw all of this stuff on Twitter about Derek's performance in the LCQ, and I was like, okay, I have to tune into this. And it was just one of the craziest hard carry performances that I've seen in quite some time. It was shades of Xiao from FPX with his hard carry performances that we saw at Copenhagen.
Well, in 2 weeks and a half time, we'll be crowning our second ever VCT champion, but it is a long road to go for these 16 teams. Before that, here is the one and only Pansy with a quick explainer of the champions format.
History books have a finite amount of pages. FPX has done it!
Valorant Champions is Kicking off on August 31st.
Yo,
Here's
what-
what you need to know.
Yo, PRX.
Champions is the global finale of the 2022 VC. 16 of the world's best teams will meet in Istanbul to compete for the title of Valorant World Champion.
This is a style of gameplay that I don't know how to cast.
Teams attending the event earn their spots through winning certain major events or collecting the highest number of circuit points within their regions. The tournament will see representatives from North America, EMEA, Korea, Japan, Southeast Asia, Brazil, and Latin America.
I think I've just got it. What is that?
Taking place from August 31st through September 18th, champions will begin with a group play, followed by an 8-team double elimination bracket. All matches will be best of 3, with the exception of the lower and grand finals, which will be both best of 5. First, qualified teams will be sorted into 4 random groups. Each group will play through a 4-team double elimination bracket with 2 teams emerging from each of the 4 groups. Those 8 teams will then be randomly placed into a double elimination bracket with teams from the same group being placed on opposite sides of the bracket. Teams will
Jadi ada
play
empat,
each round of the
empat
bracket
bracket
until a single team
dan
remains, earning the title of
akan
Valorant
BO3
World
semua untuk mencari
Champion.
poin,
To learn more about
menentukan
check
lower
out
dan upper
ValorantEsports.com
bracket
and follow
untuk
our socials for further
sampai
updates.
ke
Good luck to
grand
all
final
the
dan lower
competitors,
bracket.
and we'll see you in Istanbul.
Okay, this is already good.
As explained by Pansy there, we have 16 teams here. They're going to go through a group stage and then playoffs, which will be double elimination. Let's take a look at our groups, because I think this is one of the most exciting tournaments just based on the strength of each group. Kilios, you know, I'm going to let you run through Group A here. I know you wanted to talk about this.
Yes, a lot of people might have thought, okay, I'm going to go for Group D. That's where PRX is. No, I am so excited about Group A specifically because of PRX and EDG. This is our opening series. It is going to be absolutely chaotic. Pure, unadulterated madness on the lobby. These two teams are basically going to run at each other, and it's all about who can just keep fighting back. I think it's going to be a battle of stamina, and I cannot wait to see those guys just square off.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely exciting. Group D is the one catching my attention. This one has 3 big squads that I think a lot of people would expect to get out of the groups in another world. Fnatic, great placement at the previous event. PRX as well, doing well at Copenhagen. Those 2 squads have found so much consistency and only continued to improve. 100 Thieves, we talked about them a little bit. It's that new squad out of North America, a new roster, finally back at an international event. And Furia, a big unknown quantity in Group D.
I mean, Group C's got the reigning champions, but I want to make you guys look at Group B here. Take your eyes over there, because we have the 3 1-2 and 3rd finish from Reykjavik. Zeta is bad. They're going to be getting their rematch against Loud. Optic, of course. They're going to have a lot to prove. And Boom as well, a complete new team that nobody is really quite right where to put them. So I think all of these groups are very, very well balanced. I honestly can't even tell you guys who I think is going to be making playoffs. I feel like every time I make a prediction about playoffs is wrong anyway. My pick'ems are in tatters.
It can't be worse than me. I think in Copenhagen, my record was just abysmal.
Have you always predicted DRX to win?
fanboy right over here.
Just permanently?
So, you know, it is what it is. At this point, you just kind of own it. It's just
It is what it is.
Personality.
I respect that. Speaking of predictions, let's talk about the ultimate prediction, I think. The tournament winner, the champion of champions. Mimi, I'm going to come to you first. Who are you backing for this tournament?
I've been back and forth on this one. I have been thinking long and hard, and there's been 2 teams that have been on my mind. One of them has been Optic Gaming, North America. They were great. They won Masters 1. They did well at Masters 2. The other one is a new
But
it's EDG. It's a team.
your
that's coming in.
Optic
There's
Gaming
so
is
much
gonna
potential, but
face
in the end, reason
the
why
Indonesian
and
best
I have to pick
team,
Optic Gaming to come on through. They've been
Boom
so consistent. They're
Esports,
such
okay?
a good team at the improvement, so they're my prediction to win it.
Okay, that's actually a really sensible choice, which I'm sure you also went with a really sensible choice, right?
Yeah, of course.
Go on.
You know, okay, it's DRX. You know what? At some point, I'm going to be right. They will win eventually.
It's gotta happen.
And I will have been there from the beginning. I will have my Kobe LCS moment. I never doubted them. I always believed in them. They'll get over the finish line. I just hope it's at this event.
No one remembers the entire 2 years where you predicted them, and it never worked out. They only remember the one time you got it right.
Exactly.
I feel like I've taken a little bit from both of you. I've gone with the, you know, the sensible choice and also just where my heart lies, which is PRX. I think this is the third time in a row that I predicted PRX, so third time's a charm, you know, third time lucky. Yeah. Next year, this time, I'm going to be literally where you're sat.
Yeah, I love you.
But yeah, PRX for me. If you guys at home want to join in on the conversation, or just tweet at us on what you think about our predictions, whatever you see during the event, make sure to use the hashtag ValorantChampions and hashtag VCT, and we will be featuring some of our favorite tweets on the broadcast of right here. But before that, we want you guys to go and make predictions. We've made ours. We want to know what you think, and here is the poll for today. Which region will take it all? EMEA, NA, Asia, or South America? Scan the QR code right now on your screen to cast your vote.
Southeast Asia.
Southeast
Asia. Let's go PRX. Let's go Boom Esports.
You can't predict EMEA and then go and change that and like side with the fans. It's like, I mean, I think South America could win the poll, but I also think EMEA is going to win the event. But I also
no, I'm realistic. I know they're going to win the poll.
If you play all the sides, if you're like a die, you have all these different dimensions to you. You can't be wrong.
I like that.
I like
that. But for now, we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to be breaking down the first match of Valorant Champions. It's PRX versus Edward Gaming. You don't want to miss this one.
No, I don't want it. I don't want to miss this one. Where is Sentinel playing? Are you sure about that?
Welcome back to Valorant Champions. We honestly could not have asked for a better way to start off this event. We're going to kick things off with a giga banger. It is PRX versus Edward Gaming. Let's start with PRX, because I think after what happened in the last tournament, this is now a household name.
We all talk about
PRX. A beloved fan favorite team.
Benkai,
a lot of
Mindfreak,
people know, and that's because on this upward trajectory
for a second, and
quite a while. They come into this year
not Jinx, I mean
they come back into Copenhagen. They're into second place at that event. Now they've made it back again, requalified into champions. It feels like the only direction for that trajectory is to continue upward.
Yeah, they've just been incredible. I mean, you know, it was very close, but no cigar for them versus FPX. They played a really, really tight grand final. But they continue to persevere. They continue to be hungry for the win. And I think that perseverance is one of the best things that you can have as a team. You're not going to get knocked back. You're going to stay motivated. You're always going to come into a tournament and give it your all.
Yeah, I think the mentality for this team is really lovely, because even in loss, even when they're not feeling it right, they're still just having fun. They are friends before they are teammates. And you can see that in the way they play, in the walkouts, in the comms. They're always just trying to have fun, keep each other uplifted. And I think just that super positive mentality around that team helps them to continue to find these great placements.
I really didn't want to watch that Breeze back again. It's such a heartbreaking way for them to go out. But Achilles, I think one of the things that everybody looked towards after the last tournament is Jing. Yeah. This has got to be one of the best players in the world.
Oh, he absolutely is. And you know, you look at before, you know, pre-Copenhagen, before they get that second place finish, a lot of people were saying like Jing is definitely within the top 10. This guy's an incredible entry. His raise plays are absolutely phenomenal. After that tournament, I think you have to narrow it down, top 3 player in the world.
I'm going to narrow it further. I think he's the best dive player that we have playing at the global stage.
Yeah,
right
right now
now
Jing is
for
the best player
The
for
way that this guy plays on the Razor,
Jing, and for second is best player for
the coordination
PRX.
with the team is great. For a long time, we defined them by kind of the duo, Forsaken and Jing. But at Copenhagen, it really was this guy taking that starring role. He creates so much space for his squad, but in doing so, he's never overheating. He's never going too deep.
I've always, looking at Raze players, been like, I feel like this person just, they're so good, but they're not quite as good as Bunny was when he was on his prime at F4Q. Bunny was always kind of like the de facto Raze player. I think Jing might be the person who finally has taken up the mantle. He's just so incredible. His movement is incredibly clean. Just lay down. He's the best Raze player in the world.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about Jing being the dive player, but can he be out-dived, Achilles? Is EDG the team that can out-Jing Jing?
I don't think so.
That's about as close as I can get because EDG kind of toes the line. I would say they're somewhere in between DRX and PRX. Their aggression is so similar to PRX, but they also play together like a team, and they don't have to necessarily rely on one person to hard carry, much like DRX.
Nobody alive.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they look at this team for the first time, they're just like, this is crazy. This is like nothing we've ever seen before. And it is, but there's so much sense to it. In their aggression, it's super well coordinated. It's super well put together. We haven't
But
seen them
EDG
before.
is the first Chinese team that
region, they have been grinding away
lolos
for
di
so long and to make it to
Valorant
this point,
champions
that
juga jadi
coordination
kayak
shows.
I mean, I think this is why everybody's really hyped about this team.
gambat deh,
The unique style.
EDG.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would say, like, okay, it's very much like PRX, but I think if you paid attention to Chinese esports in general, you know that aggression just kind of naturally comes forward when they play games. I think that if you had a world where PRX didn't exist, we would probably still see EDG play very similarly to the way they are right now. This is just basically in their blood is how they like to play.
Mimi, do you feel like EDG do have a chance to get out of this group? Because it's looking pretty tough if you look at on the other side of Liquid and Leviathan as well.
I think it is a really difficult group. I think it's the most difficult group that we have here in the event. But this team comes in with just so much kind of mystery around them. Their team are really only playing this style for the very first time in scrims against EDG. I think they're really tough to predict, and in that, I think there's always a great upset potential when you put that in with the insane individual skill these guys have.
Well, earlier, Mimi and I had a chat with Kankan and Nobody on their journey to champions so far. Take a look. That's right, I'm now joined by Mimi and two players from EDG, Nobody and Kankan. Hi guys, welcome to Champions, welcome to Turkey. You guys are the first Chinese players to make it to this international tournament. And I wanted to ask you, do you feel any pressure given that you're making your debut on such a big stage? 你好 Kankan， 你好 Nobody， 欢迎来到土耳其。我想问问你们两个人，你们是唯一第一个来自中国的职业选手，来自这么一个世界的大舞台，你们觉得有没有一点压力啊？是因为你们第一次在国外比赛，是在来 Champions 的地方比赛。我跟你才开始。
我觉得我们应该会有一点压力，因为我们从 LCQ 打出来，然后可能我们也是唯一的一支中国战队，然后可能外界很多眼光都在看我们，就是很多会很高。 对吧？然后
a bit, but
这场又是
I hope Jinsu is translating
打
for
到
us.
他就是在上个比赛拿到好成绩的队伍，所以说我们都会有一点压力。
Okay, Nobody said that they do feel a little bit of pressure because they were the only Chinese team at the East Asia LCQ. When they did so well, everybody is watching them. Everybody saw that they did so well. So people have expectations of them coming into this. And not only that, they're playing PRX first. And PRX were an amazing team back at Copenhagen. So there's a little bit of pressure. But I also want to see if Kankan feel the same way. 你觉得有压力吗？
我唯一给我带来压力，可能就是第一次线下可能会有压力吧，但其他给我的感觉就是还好，就没有让我感觉其他那些选手啊能够给我带来很大的压力。就从目前来看吧，就是他们不能够完全粉碎我的意志的那种感觉，所以说我并没有觉得特别大的压力，只要我们做好我们的，我们就能行。
Kankan says that he feels a little bit of pressure in case there might be some nerves on the day, but he doesn't think that any teams and players here are going to be doing too much to challenge him, to actually make him feel like he's under pressure because he has a lot of self-belief in himself and in the team as well. And Mimi, I think that's what we kind of expected Kankan to say.
Yeah, the confidence is everything for this team. And Kankan, for you, your style that you guys play, it has so much inherent risk. And it worked so well for you guys at that East Asia LCQ, running down pretty much everyone in that tournament. But now here on an international stage with so many fantastic teams, do you think that same style will be able to match up?
秘密想问你，你们打的游戏的那个风格是很狂的、很疯的，在亚洲的时候，这个是很顺利的一个风格，别人不知道怎么对付你。但是你来到 Champions 以后，在国外的欧洲、美国的这种对上，你觉得这个计划还是能成功的计划吗？
我觉得应该是能够成功的，但是他们可能会反应的更。
I'm glad that
比如说我们在亚洲打 LCQ 的时候，他们可能没有及时的去处理，及时的去处置我们当时做的很多东西，但是可能欧洲、美国的玩家，他们那些选手，他们可能会做得更好，在这些。
But the Edward Gaming Chinese players, all of them young player. I mean, mereka semua itu muda. Terus masih sangat berbakat. Sama sih seperti tim-tim lainnya, kecuali mungkin Sentinel ya. Sentinel kalau yang lo tahu, Sentinel punya beberapa pemain tua seperti Stroud yang baru masuk juga. This is gonna be a good match between two great young team, PRX versus Edward Gaming. Yeah, keep translating.
出国比赛还有训练的，你们训练的怎么样啊？哪个队你们在一起在训练？你觉得国外的队是怎么样的打法的？
我们有打过 Optic 和 Accent， 然后我个人觉得就是在我们快的这种打法打到他们队的时候，他们会比较有应对的方案，就不会像可能亚洲队有的时候来不及应对我们这种快的打法。所以说，我觉得我们来到这个冠军赛，我们需要在打法上更加的多变一点，我们不能一直打我们快的节奏。
你们已经找到了怎么对付那样的地方吗？怎么变的地方？对，找到了。哦，很好。He said they've scrimmed Optic, they've scrimmed Exit. They found that when they're playing that fast pace, like crazy style, Optic and Exit clearly have a plan. They know what to do against that. They realize now they have to change, they have to evolve a little bit. But the good news is they found the answer. They know exactly what the next evolution of their team is going to be. I'm a bit scared, Mimi. Like this team getting even better, I think is going to be a bit crazy. But thank you, Mimi. I love the questions. 谢谢康康，谢谢 nobody. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to throw this back to you guys. Well, they scrimmed the NA teams, Achilles. They admitted they scrimmed Optic and X.
Back to you guys. It's you again. Oh my god.
For them than the East Asia ones.
Well, the thing that gives me some faith is that they said that we have figured out the next stage of evolution. We have determined the future of this squad and what they're going to be running. And I think that they can really make some micro adjustments because the team plays so well together. So if they make something happen on a macro level, I think they'll be able to really manage it individually incredibly well.
And I think that is one of the advantages you come out of playing in a region like East Asia, where there's not a huge amount of competition that is really testing them. You don't have to show quite as much as some of the other kind of regions where the competition is maybe a little bit closer. So they can come into this event with new ideas, with new prep, and be showing them for the very first time in their matches.
I can't wait to see it. There's going to be a lot of W gaming going on today, guys. We're going to be going very, very fast. So I'm going to let you have a break, gather yourself a little bit. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about PRX and EDG.
PCT. Yo, come on, let's go. Play already. PRX. It's that time of the year. Let's go, Valorant champion hashtag. PRX wins champions. Yeah, I agree. Let's go. Not win the champions, but win this match, I think, because gue masih dukung Boom Esport. Istanbul, Turkey.
Welcome back, everybody. Before the break, we asked you which region do you think will be taking the champions?
Yeah, of course.
The results are now in, and I can now reveal that you guys over on Twitter, the big brain analysts over there on Twitter, voted.
So is Asia. So is Asia.
Asia. Wow.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm happy from Achilleos' pure joy at that reaction. It's going to be so exciting. I think what makes the Asian region awesome is you have so many different teams with so many different styles, and that's what we're going to have.
Asia pride. Let's go.
You look at EDG, you look at PRX, and they look similar, but they have such different ideas.
I mean, the representation is growing, and now you've got EDG here, you've got Boom representing Indonesia as well, so there's just so many, teams over there in Asia that are excited, or players,
Well,
yeah, don't forget about Boom.
Come over here to Istanbul with one goal in their mind to win the title and take home the trophy. Without further ado, it's time to kick off our event. Day 1 of Champions starts right here.
Yes, finally.
Abi şu adamı. Beyler hadi hazır mıyız? Haydi haydi. Abi saydı smokelayın. Smokelayın abi saydı. Vurun abi şu adamı. Adam spike kurdu ya.
Tarık. Oğlum kaç kere söyledim sana bu saatte oyun oynama diye?
Pardon baba ya. Şu maçım bitsin yatacağım söz veriyorum.
Peki. Bu maçı bitir sonra doğru yatağa.
Hadi beyler hazır mıyız? Haydi haydi.
Quer ouvir uma história de fantasma? É sério. Muitos anos atrás, todo mundo estava encoberto pela escuridão. Havia uma serpente. E ela se chamava Boi Iguaçu. E essa serpente caçava animais. Até que um dia, acabou pegando fogo. E até hoje, seu espírito percorre toda a floresta, em forma de olhos flamejantes. Nós o chamamos de espírito Boitatá.
Então, a moral da história é não comandei mais.
Boitatá kayak bosnya RW. Kenapa jadi film horor ya?
Yo, have you seen Pujon? Yeah, over there. Yo, you good, bro?
I just thought I saw someone I knew.
Zeta!
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Whoa, that was cool. Yeah, as expected, yeah. Riot is not a good games development. Mereka adalah the best filmmaker.
Day one, Sassy's acting, I gotta say, I think he has a really long career in acting if he decides to retire from Valorant.
Yeah, that was great. Overall, I think everybody, for the most part, was doing a fantastic job there. So really pleasantly surprised to see that.
I'm surprised by Artis's reaction to the spikers. He just doesn't care. The man's just chilling out.
FNS in the club as well. Just a gold FNS in the club.
He's just a rock.
Yeah.
Just having fun.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, I absolutely love the videos here. I mean, if you guys actually thought that was hype, if your hype level is already at a good mass, I suggest that you might want to take a seat for this one because it is time to activate the champion stage.
Yo, let's go.
PRX. Edward Gaming.
Who is Edward?
Gladiator. Team Liquid.
It's just the group.
What a good-looking stage and a good-looking group as
Oh
well.
my
Let's jump
God.
straight into the map select
What
for
a good
this
stage.
matchup. Achilles, there's a lot that both of these teams can go there. Both of them have a pretty good map pool.
Yeah, they really do. There's only a couple weaknesses coming into this from the side of EDG that you would say, you know, Haven, probably one of the biggest ones that they would often ban away. But now that you have Pearl there and they have limited opportunities to practice on it, do they take it away? No, they're actually going to ban Bind.
And I mean, that's been such a great map for
Oh,
PRX.
bind him.
It's pretty unsurprising that they
Yeah.
did that one. I'm interested what
Okay,
PRX banned.
fracture, yeah.
Used to perma split. Instead, they'll go for fracture in this one, which is interesting. It's a great map for them, but same to be said.
Yeah, band fracture. That was good. That was a good
I was
choice.
going to say, like, this was an incredible map for them.
Oh,
They're gonna pick Bird.
Forget
It's gonna be
everything.
amazing. I mean, how can you even prepare for this one? EDG go in and pick it out the gate. Their first international event ever, and Pearl is their first map.
This is insane. This is absolutely crazy. We were
It's so
talking
EDG.
about it in the lead up to this. Pearl's available. LCQ teams limited time to scrim and prep this map. EDG say screw it. We are so confident in our abilities. We played this as much as we possibly can, and we think it's good enough.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see what PRX respond with here after seeing Pearl being picked right off the bat. Of course, Fracture and Bind are gone here, and it looks like it is gonna be the Icebox.
Yeah, Icebox has been an interesting one for this team. They kind of showed some like back and forth on it back at Copenhagen.
A good one because Per akhirnya debut pertama di profesional ya. Di profesional itu akhirnya Per dan kedua ada Xbox yang which is good enough.
Right now, EDG, they're on a 55% win record. That's 18 wins, 15 losses. I would have gone for that.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because that map, the compositions that EDG run, it felt a little outdated from what other teams are playing. Again, they're very willing to define their own meta, but a bit curious not to see that. Ascent will go away. Copenhagen, that was an excellent map for PRX. So,
Oh
again,
my God, Ascent di ban.
Haven doesn't get gotten rid of there for EDG though.
That's the thing that's so puzzling to me because, you know, when EDG played versus Onslayers in the grand final, they also banned Ascent away from them because Onslayers was very good on that map. So they're willing to take that out of the pool if they think that their opponents are strong there.
Breeze a good band too. Tapi karena Breeze untuk PRX juga kan kayak Jinx suka make itu ya. Jinx suka make Raze ya. Raze sendiri tuh nggak paling jeleknya tuh ada Breeze menurutku.
Kind of thrive there. So getting rid of that one, heading to Haven instead. This is a map where PRX can put a lot more into the preparation time. They've shown us quite a few different ideas and compositions around this map. So kind of a mystery for both these teams. And in particular, why is EDG leaving this open?
I feel like they have to have developed something. They talked about that next stage of the team's evolution, trying out new things. I feel like they have to have something new prepared for Haven that completely changes their previous playstyle in order to warrant this being left open.
Yeah, absolutely. I think overall with this pool, Pearl is that first map. I'd imagine that, I mean, first of all, it's just absurd that that's where we start. But I'm just wondering, what does PRX pull out here? Because they've always been a team that's willing to be that kind of meta innovator, try things out. Even if they don't quite work, they'll make an attempt at it. And I don't see that one coming, but possible? Sure.
We will see. We will see. We're gonna take a quick.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Maybe PRX taking Phoenix karena kemarin dia ambil Yoru dan itu it's super good though. Pengen ya punya headset gitu. Secret lab, let's go. Pindah nobar ke sini aku demi kawannya. Apa lagi ya? Temen terbaik emang ya. Demi mendukung PRX dan teman sendiri. Iklan gini nggak perlu dikomen sih sebenarnya. Bang, beliin secret lab bang, biar punggungku bagus bang. Cupu aja orang tuh semua jago yang nge-cheat lagi ya, bener sekali. By the way tadi ketemu cheater aku. Dan sekarang nge-cheat Valorant tadi ya, setelah dilihat-lihat udah mulai gratis. Udah banyak yang gratis cheat Valorant, like ya. Semoga Riot memperbaikilah masalah cheater-cheater ini. Selama ini bayar, biasanya per hari itu, setahu aku ya, per hari itu cheat itu $5. Ada yang paling murah tuh $1 per hari. Sekarang udah ada yang gratis malah. Tapi ya sistem ban-nya Valorant tuh jauh lebih bagus daripada CSGO, jadi kayak ya believe in them.
We are set for our first match of the tournament. It's time to meet the players from PRX and EDG.
Yo, let's go. Iyalah, begitulah kesenangan mereka di cheating gitu lah, membuat orang lain kesal. Show. Anjing. DMGG Hong Kong. Adik kita Forsaken. Dawa. Nama Davai. Orang Asia.
Mind freak. Smoggy.
Duelist Smoggy.
Benkai.
Bengkai Magia, astaga.
After.
Oh my god. Orang Melayu ya bang. Kasih makanan lagi anjing. Baik kayak anjing. Kelakuan.
It's the runners-up from Copenhagen versus the highly anticipated new kids on the block on stage right here. We honestly could not have asked for a better start.
Di mana nih Vel mainnya?
But I do want to address, as you guys saw on the walkout.
Maksudnya apa? Map pertama ya? Map pertama tahu mainnya? Mainnya di Istanbul. Untuk map pertama tuh Per. Lihatlah si Benkainya, astaga.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough change to make, and I'm sure very short notice. Unfortunate for EDG, but Pearl, that's our map number 1, and it's going to be really interesting because we've never seen this map played yet at this level, and we've already heard
bajunya
that at least for Kong Kong, he's going to be playing.
PRX banget.
I'm expecting something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly something that we didn't anticipate at all, but hopefully this isn't going to be too detrimental for EDG. They like to play with confidence. If anything else,
Duh, kapan kita bisa punya layar kayak gitu, anjir.
If he can keep everyone very much hyper-focused into this, there's a chance that they could come out and be very and they both kind of overlap a little bit. Smoggy's most played is Jet historically. Granted, he has not played really any games officially.
Barangnya kayak main di warnet dia.
Around 10 maps that he has been played on, but he has been taking
bapaknya punya
things like Fade, KO, Chamber as
Penu nih.
Adding on to your point, Mimi, in terms of Kong Kong saying that he's going to play a brand new agent. To give some context, it's basically not Jet's, Chamber, Raze, or Yoru.
Yeah,
so just not those 4.
Yeah, you'd expect something.
Kemungkinan untuk
Phoenix
di pick gede. Dan nggak tahu kita bisa lihat Yorunya Jing lagi. I hope against Solid.
Yeah, we're into the Prime Gaming agent select, and Jing is locking that Raze. We have the Viper on one side and I guess a Fade.
The Way Sage main Freak.
And Kong Kong
Astra, Benkai Fade, Forsaken. Oh, oke. Mereka bawa Raze. Mungkin karena di Per ya.
But because of the fairly last-minute substitution, that just sends him back over to the chamber.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the B side of this map is really tough without the Sage, and it's not going to be brought out. For PRX, they do have that Sage in the mix. I think this map will play similarly to Icebox.
Mau gimana pun nge-nerf si Chamber ini, dia tetap akan meta. Like, dia selalu bawa Guardian. Like the skill is Guardian aja gitu.
Forsaken on the Chamber, Jing on the Raze Mind Freak, on the Astra. This is kind of the composition that the agents they were playing at Kilios that got them to the grand finals of Copenhagen.
Yeah, it's a curious thing. I would love to say this is how I think this is going to
Beda
be.
di
What the focus is going to be.
Edward Gaming bawa KO ya untuk mengcounter Chamber, ya bisa jadi.
Decided to start on the attacking side of this map. That's why I think we've seen it generally be a little bit stronger over on the defense for a lot of teams. So that tells me they have something special prepped on up with these executes, with that Raze and the Fade going on in. It's a heavy initiator composition, and as always for this team, it's heavy on Jing.
I can't wait to get into this one, and it's time to pitch this over to your casters. You gotta be joking me. It's Saisho and Bren.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to be saying that time and time again over the course of this entire.
Halo Cass, tapi sorry, gue juga ngangkat sendiri. Let's go.
Starts here today, and PRX Never Gaming. What a matchup we've got here to really just kick things off.
You couldn't ask for anything more exciting. The debut match of champions. You've got the debut of Pearl happening here as well. The debut of Edward Gaming. There's so much new stuff to dig into right now. And all of it mixed up with Smoggy coming into the mix as well. And starting things off, I mean, we're already
game udah dimulai.
Pistol round.
Okay, attacking.
Like they want to send things fairly quickly over towards A.
Yeah, make no mistake about it already.
PRX attacking.
All being sent into the A side, but that Viper Orb just stopping them in their tracks for but a moment at a late lurk through into mid. Making sure that space is still gained as well. You can see it's going for a bit of a split now into Art. Held down for the time being.
Hold on. Oh my god, hold on.
Battle being taken.
Oh, really?
You're getting 3 in the mix. That is just unheard of. They've already locked down just the one extremity. There will not be a spike being planted, not just yet. Left down to Benkai. That 1v3.
What a nice start from Edward Gaming. Eh?
But flanks on Pearl are so difficult. It's a long, long way to push all the way down mid or out from B and come behind. But Benkai's just cutting noise here as well, trying to make the defenders to spread out a little bit on the map. Already though, what a round from Smoggy, coming in as the substitute. Picking off 3 with a ghost to start. You can tell EDG have got the talent. Here comes Benkai, gonna have to take a duel against nobody to cross this angle.
I was aware that there was a player ready and waiting, bit of a noise bait. But only around 20 seconds to work with in the round.
And nobody's gone back to check A, and it's just left this angle through A link.
There's enough chaos that's been sown. You're right, Josh. So
10
many
seconds
openings here. It all comes down to this fight that might be about to be taken.
He's got players all over him, and the reposition from nobody, it's so clean. The ghost headshots coming through there for EDG, and setting them off.
Nice opening from
to
Edward
start
Gaming.
things out in Champions. This is a team, Bren, that no one really knows what to expect. You've got to think
Save
massive favorites in the match overall.
untuk PRX dan force buy buat Edward Gaming. You always force buy when you win, okay?
Talented players, but there's just still so many question marks, so much mystery, and that will calm the nerves a little bit.
Pistol win sets them off on a beautiful start. Consider the circumstances. Little util combo. You can see that was a seize into the fragment. Off to the side to see if they could catch out one of the players.
And also that Smoggy involved with it too. They're getting kind of involved in these set plays. Clearly hasn't pushed away their preparation too much to begin with.
Players cutting up the angles.
Whoa!
PRX, who are taking names, taking weapons as well, working their way into that alleyway. They are contained though. Bit of damage being done. Pulled apart, it feels like, in that middle area because they know exactly where the positioning is. And even with the Spectre in his hands, sure, okay, he needs to watch for that. He heard, obviously, that rendezvous in play. Forsaken ended up teleporting right to the top side of things. He does have the spike in his hand as well, so...
He's going to get a free plant here for sure.
Will be.
But Forsaken, I just don't see a way that he's going to be able to win this. 0 bullets in the Headhunter.
This is intriguing.
He has to push deep here. He's in a 1v2 where he has no clutch potential due to only having a classic. So being able to get the jump on somebody here and find a timing on an A anchor would make this round winnable. Unfortunately for him, there's nobody anywhere close. Look at the positioning of Chishu and nobody. They're miles away.
Dia mencoba untuk balik ke B.
And I think this is smart from EDG, not allowing him to get those free 1v1s.
Dia akan ketemu sama. Oke, langsung kan bener.
See all the noise that he's making.
And both rounds have ended in the same way, with nobody pushing into a clever position.
Sekarang mereka bisa full buy dari PRX. Dan wow, langsung beli AWP aja tuh. Kong.
Nobody in particular has been extremely impressive in terms of how he positions himself. And how he takes fights.
And I couldn't agree more with that.
Oh, and there's Kang. Definitely most excitable player on the team, getting into it already and picking up an operator.
Up close position there. Into the pocket has to be cleared out with the Prowler. It's not going to spot him out. Off to the side, this angle it needs to be watched for. Just quite a little sidestep. Now to util. Slaw being sent through a bit of a...
Oh, what a nice shot.
He's so aggressive.
Shot still being found, and yeah, Kang is going to be unrelenting with the positionings that he's taking. He's going to make sure that he's punishing you. You don't expect those risky plays every game, though. These guys are on top of it all.
Yeah, already on the flank, managing to get past the trademark as well, and Kang's picking them off.
I mean, an absurd performance. Absolutely.
Oh, what a nice game for Edward Gaming.
I was not expecting
PRX, gabat deh.
While they're not playing with life, they're playing with Smoggy in this lineup.
Mereka udah kalah, mereka kehilangan ekonomi lagi.
This is a new addition, but it's Kang that brings out this bonus round. Basically the only player that had a gun worth blocking at all. But he's so aggressive and active. I think
Di bonus round dia beli AWP, I mean OP.
Drop back so you don't lose the operator and ruin your buy for round 4. But that is not the way that Kang plays. No. If you look at
he is going to push you to your limits.
Yeah, he is the most active player that we have at the event. What I mean by that is
time out though. Oh, time out. Okay. First time out in this tournament.
He's got 20 kills and deaths combined. He averages 12-8 at the half, and that is just absurd, absolutely bonkers. Of course, the question always being for those kind of players, can they keep it up on the global stage?
That's the question, isn't it?
Listen, that round has given me some decent hope that Kankang is the truth here.
I mean, right now going toe-to-toe with one of our finalists at Copenhagen, PRX.
And of course, it's early days. It's a map that nobody really knows about. But promising signs, to say the least.
A great showcase. Obviously, this being a timeout being taken by PRX, working out how do they want to work around this one now, because with Kankang operator in his hands, honestly, the most logical sense is going to be that he's playing towards that B site, that really long sightline angle.
They're gonna save this round, PRX. Melawan full buy dari Edward, like ekonomi mereka lagi bagus banget. Tapi cara ngalahinnya adalah dengan cara bikin Edward Gaming kalah 2 round, mereka akan miskin semiskin-miskinnya.
Or you run the raise fade with the Astra. And the raise fade with the Astra is not very good at pushing back the Opera at B.
Oh, 4 seconds selalu kalah.
But that's my point exemplified there. You just don't have the utility across such an open area. And I think that this is going to mean PRX heading through mid, through A lot in this half.
Yeah. It's a difficult map as well. There's a lot of tight corners you've got to be clearing out. Making sure that you are showing a lot of discipline when it comes to clearing out these areas.
Another little element of this area of the map too, you can see as PRX try to pop in here, there's so many different trap plays that EDG could run, and once PRX push down, they can still get flanked through that mid to A connector.
They're pivoting, but the trademark's still up. They're going to be aware of this one, assuming it doesn't get broken, but there we go. Oh, it gets off. Okay.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's unlucky. That.
Oh, what a nice shot!
Pushes to take a bit of a fight there, even against better judgment. A bit of a push through the smoke. HaLu getting away with 3 there. And Benkai though.
And you can already see the talent of these players. Benkai.
Oh, wow!
I think that would definitely have been a mistake.
Nice try, nice try. Oh my god. Liatin pemain-pemain memang mengerikan.
You can already see the talent involved. Look at how long here. Through the smoke, finds a spray transfer. And then gets onto the third.
I have never seen a team
Edward Gaming sangat excited ya, udah memegang 4-0. Nah, di sini akhirnya kita bisa melihat full buy versus full buy, yang dimana ekonomi Edward Gaming masih sangat bagus, sedangkan oh, that was not a good push.
He wants to take the fight. In fact, they're being backed up. Jichu with the spray down. He's grabbing 2. Benkai eventually removing him from the fight, but a bit of timing. Game of cat and mouse around the smokes. Forsaken takes away Kankan, removes him from the fight. All up to HaLu, the IGL for Edward Gaming.
It is finally PRX can win.
HaLu looking to try and spot Forsaken. Knew that Forsaken was lurking through this area of the map earlier on. Still with 3 stars to play with, and HaLu, he's able to get the spray down through the box.
It's going to be one of his targets found. Him versus Benkai though. Stars drop down.
That's a great smoke.
Yep.
Countered though.
If you can force, but he knows where the positioning is for both of them now. Seas is going to be grabbing onto it. HaLu has no audio cues in the mix. Quick little pop into the Astro form. It's going to be the smoke popped up now. Benkai playing so far back here. That's important into the back, trying to spray through this one. He's already got half. HaLu's just going to be sticking this one, and he's got the round.
Holy shit!
That's
really
an unbelievable clutch from HaLu. In a straight-up fight against Forsaken, and then outplaying Benkai towards the end too. EDG are on a roll. This is so impressive. Look at that spray transfer again. And something that PRX are so good at is trading each other out in those kind of moments. You do not expect the PRX players to trade out and be on the worst side of that. They went 3 for 3 in that situation when normally they power through teams.
That's Edward Gaming.
Forced by dari PRX.
They are always ready to trade out additional firepower right behind them. Even if 2 of their players go down, they're not scared to commit bodies into the fight. It's the thing that powered them to a lot of their wins in the East Asia LCQ.
And look how much PRX are having to focus on the A side right now. Just thinking about how their composition works, it's only Forsaken prodding towards mid, being that lurk player. Here comes Jing though with a showstopper, looking to try and clear things in.
Oh!
What an amazing null command from Smoggy.
Yeah, completely. Just takes away the showstopper, and he still looks down the one angle at Art. Bit of a pop flash play as well, go around the corner. Might even be trying for seconds, but he bides his time. Bit of patient play now. He's managed to push back the offensive.
An EDG with a 4v3 situation.
Oh, the tether.
I mean,
gain.
just all of the info about where Devi is playing.
Up top on the half
stuck.
wall. Devi's position is known. It has to jiggle it now.
What?
What is that?
Goodbye, Mind Freak. That's a slow
God,
drop down.
Flick.
Nerfed in the patch they were playing out of champs, but I mean, Kangkang's making the agent just look absolutely unbelievable still. Punished in the end, though. Slowly walking forward. There isn't going to be a swing just there. Damage! Oh, it's done. Resurrect is online. A bit of consideration before he lets it loose, but now down to that 2v1. Still time running low. An opportunity for HaLu if he does disrupt this, but no stars to pull off the plans.
He might have an amazing timing here. Can he get there in time? No, not quite.
Puts out one. Knows the other one's at default. But it's going to be this double face from PRX. What a difficult ask. The movement. It's a slight sidestep, a reload.
Look how well HaLu is playing with the wallbang here.
Just trying to make sure he gets those stray bullets off. If he gets even one kill, smoke laid down, sprays it through. 9 left in the clip. But
Nice one. Finally a win round.
Eventually able to make something happen. And one slip up there for EDG is Kangkang hunting for duels that he doesn't necessarily need to take. You take a look at the replay, they played the ult situation perfectly there. The swing from Chichu is exactly as Jing loses his showstopper, but Kangkang goes for another one of those big flick up kills, misses it that time, and allowed Devi an opportunity in to get his resurrect off.
Second timeout for PRX.
That's absurd.
In the first half.
Burning both timeouts by the time you get to round 7, I think that shows the pressure actually.
Yeah.
The
Second
pressure.
time.
Potentially a little bit as well. You think about a team like Edward Gaming coming into this one. You know, no one really expects his team, you know, newcomers to the global stage. First time they're really playing against top competition, up against the finalists of Copenhagen.
Yeah, I think it bears mentioning how much bigger PRX are as a team than anyone they've had to face so far. EDG have actually done a great job. They spun their way to East Asia LCQ. They beat Northemption, who went out in groups at Copenhagen. That's pretty good. And they played against 4 other players in that LCQ that had been to a Masters event before. But the rest of the field was somewhat weak, somewhat untested. This, though, is a totally different ball game, and they're stepping up.
Yeah, unknown quantities across the board, isn't it? Pearl being played, but yeah, certainly.
The other part about that too, Brent, is that EDG haven't had very much time to even prep Pearl. The LCQ teams should be at a disadvantage on this map. They don't look like it.
It's an excellent point. Should not have had much time at all.
EDG's economy under a ton of
langsung aja ya nutup jalan masuk ke
PRX have won has put EDG back onto a thrifty.
Look at these liberties though that are being taken with the Viper's pit drop down in A main and all the information being gained. He's pushed so deep. They know that mid is relatively compromised here.
Smoggy making sure to get rid of the horn there, allowing HaLu to stay in this tough position.
The wall bangs!
Oh!
Though.
But here comes Kangkang. All of this delay from the rest of the team allows him to get a timing.
Just making a bit of noise. That is going to be the kill picked up. Still, PRX are in control of this mid area. They are starting to vacate back through mid. Still have control of it. Haven't broken the trademark just yet, but they know it's there. It's been in play for quite some time, and it's up to nobody. See if he can wrestle off a couple of shots. The angle's lost at the end. What is that?
Oh my god.
And Jing removed from the
Nice
action. What a
flick.
way to punish him.
And now you get a chamber battle in mid. Forsaken with the tour de force. He reads the play from Kangkang, but can he read the second player coming from the same direction? Is there any hope here of Chichu being able to get this round on the board? Not after a bit of bulldog spam coming through the doorway. Chichu's given away his positioning.
Yeah. And Forsaken should be favored in this fight, obviously, with the tour de force in hand.
Oh, nice one. 1 second. 2 and a 5.
Okay.
Clean anti-eco, despite the best efforts of Kangkang and nobody already, Brent, we're seeing this individual talent from EDG.
Yeah.
The flick shots have been absurd. The spray transfers already.
There's a big question for me, I think, as well.
Oh my god, that was so good.
Going to be competing against a top talented
Godly flick.
like this. They played against talented players before. They've shut down talented players, but when you're on the global stage, when you're at champs,
It all gets harder.
it gets much harder. Were they able to keep it stepping up and still play with this confidence? The answer so far has been yes.
Once more, PRX looking towards A. Their composition doesn't have answers for the B side of the map. You saw that with Kang pushing up in the prior on the Thrifty. This time he's playing in mid. He realizes PRX are not going to walk into him. And that is just info for another Kang peak. Forsaken's under crazy pressure, and he has to rendezvous away.
Mindfreak, nice shot.
Smart enough to back away, still works his way into a bit of a deeper angle there off to the side. Being swarmed by multiple players. Kang anticipates it, does not have any sort of rendezvous setup, but goes for the re-pick. This guy is...
He's crazy.
Just insane. But now the util dump onto the A side. Players working their way through. The boombot, the Prowler, the Horn being broken down as well. It's going to be that 1-for-1 at the end of the day.
Oh, almost.
Spike is still going to get planted now onto the A side. Forsaken making sure that just slight angle over the wall.
This is an aim-lapse workout.
One.
You're kidding me.
It's just being spammed out. Bit of distraction. No time for HaLu to work his way into the back of the site. Somehow gets away with two, but only just now is the wall being broken. Forsaken makes sure that he doesn't lose his confidence. Takes the fight, takes the swing.
It's gotta be a economic block untuk Edward Gaming dan mereka udah mengambil time out pertama.
So EDG now feel pressured themselves to take a tactical timeout. And really it's the same kind of thing happening. PRX are being able to get onto the A side, trade out effectively, and play post plant with that.
Ketawa ya anjing.
So timeout for EDG. How do they want to address this? In reality, they've actually been pretty good at adjusting their defensive setups.
Yeah.
They've, for 5 rounds, what they were doing was working, so they had no need to shift it. Thrifty came in, Kang pushed B, that added a different flavor to the round. This time around, Kang was playing aggressively in mid off the back of nobody, and I thought that that was a good idea as well. They've identified that Forsaken is lurking through mid and should be a target that can be punished. Forsaken, though, very intelligently playing around his rendezvous and Mindfreak's support, was not punished in the same kind of way that EDG wanted.
Exactly. Containing a mid presence that was being showcased.
I think EDG now want to be playing aggressive on A. They tried it once. Off the back of Benkai using his Nightfall, nobody was able to get up aggressively, and Chichu got the 2K spray down. That's the kind of round that I want to see coming out from them again, actually, here. And they've got 3 players stacked up. It does look like they're going for something similar. However, this is the one time PRX go B, reading it after the timeout. What a gorgeous call by Alex or Benkai.
That's the trouble. The map is so big, honestly, that when you commit this many players over towards one of the extremities, one of the main positions, they're not going to be able to help out the players who are locking down B, but it's up to HaLu. Kang will see what they can do. Teleport back. It is an off-ankle play. HaLu's lucky.
Nice trade.
Forsaken with an immediate trade. And now the question for Benkai is, do we pump the brakes or do we commit to this one?
Slow orbs being sent through. Not many bullets left in the chamber of that one. And that's going to be just a quick tip-tap there of the Vandal at play. Okay, sidestep with the movement there. They're going to be smoking off the trade map, but Mindfreak hears it.
He hears everything.
Yeah, knows exactly what's occurring. Does he expect a second player? The answer's no.
And Chichu with another opportunity for a clutch. In the 1v2. Chichu is actually the player left in the clutch scenarios, the 3rd most in the tournament. He is so comfortable in these kind of spots. Wins almost 20% of them for EDG. But in this one, he's got a massive...
Dia nggak tahu posisinya. Tapi ya, memang harus begitu sih.
Wants to try and isolate one of the fights, but this crossfire that's being set up by PRX, that's hard to break through. Forsaken's able to take contact. There was going to be a swing there as well from Benkai. So
5-4 ya dari 5-0.
On a bit of a heater after burning both of their timeouts.
Definitely worthwhile getting those 4 on the board. EDG's aggression on A though didn't get spotted.
Oke, sekarang ada 20 buy yang dimana Kongkong akhirnya beli itu terus ya, beli OPU terus ya.
PRX are unlikely to hit B. I think that was the kind of strat that you pull out after an opponent timeout. You're going to go back to your default kind of setup now. So I want to see EDG react to this, and it looks like they're going for it again. Aggression towards A main, as Jing also gets on the line early.
Double satchel play, flash over the top. That is on a multitude of targets, but it's Viper all in the way. It's going to offset that aggression once more. Almost, this is going on.
Almost a bit of anti-synergy there as well, stuck by Chichu's own wall.
He has to respect the smoke being pulled back as well. Wasn't certain of the positioning, no longer could hold that angle safely.
But there are 4 players here stacking for EDG on A. They know this is going to be an A commit. PRX have just so rarely been going to B.
Yeah, it's honestly a complete sacrifice of mid control, isn't it? They've got that Prowler's unfortunate. On the side of PRX, we're hoping, I think, to just avoid it.
And that's continuous information at the 55-second mark that PRX still have players towards A. If you're planning to pivot into a B hit, I don't think there'd be any reason for you to still be in this area. I think that's good.
Ini kalau diperhatiin baik-baik, mereka dari awal udah stuck 4 di A.
These star setups are really cool from Mindfreak.
Everything being dropped down, but not enough done before ahead of the time to try and burn down a bit of the Viper's fuel. So that orb is going to be blocking them up at the choke points.
Ultimate dari
Astra
ya.
The question is, which do EDG commit to? Do they stop the side hit or the lurk?
Forsaken's just going to be taking a fight.
Oh my god.
To them once more. The fight is going to be shut down. It's going to be a resurrect in play. Benkai's making sure that he shuts that down, holds it down still. It's going to be the spike. Has to get planted now with 11 seconds onto the clock, and Mindfreak was capable as well of watching just a deeper position.
Kongkong dan Nobody harus bisa clutch 2 versus, oh my god, 3 versus 1 right now. But yes.
From the haunt.
Not let him get away with anything. PRX have tied it up after being down 5 rounds in a row. This comeback has been nothing short of excellent and exactly what you would expect from a team as quality as PRX. Not allowing things to rattle them whatsoever and halting the momentum of a team that, I mean, when we had heard interviews with EDG coming into this, they talked about the fact that they would
It is now 5-5.
getting onto a 5
Untuk best of 3. Okay.
And now some of that momentum taken away.
Full stars in play. Oh, it's an
Oh.
entire cluster of bodies.
A nice 3 versus 3.
Of B here. You can feel the utility just being tossed out to the side. Smoggy's in a world of hurt right now. They drop down to his feet, vulnerable on top of it, but nobody still with the Marshal in his hands, holding for a bit of a wide swing on top of it. This is particularly dangerous now.
All of these rounds end up coming down to the wire.
Right inside of the smoke.
With a Marshal.
I mean, up close. Forsaken is low enough now, and the body shot might be enough to do it. No. Eventually, his target. But a gun has been acquired. Chichu working his way out of back, and this guy, he is a clutcher. He's known for it. Spike planted. Mindfreak tries to take the fight as well. Down to that 1v1.
Chichu has the Viper's Pit to work with here too. Worried about Forsaken peeking in from that back elbow position. There goes the pit. How does Forsaken respond to this one? You want to try and get in the pit early if possible.
He has to, but...
Oh no! What a nice play.
And that's going to be the 6th round here for Edward Gaming. Chichu.
Satu ulti untuk 1 poin, which is so good. Tapi ekonomi di sini masih baik-baik aja. Last round before the switch, dan mereka bisa.
So often. The people left in clutches the most are Chichu and then Shao, Scary, you know, like big names of the clutches. And Chichu has been.
Kalau lihat dari perspektif pemain tuh burik semua ya, karena orang main low.
That is the momentum you need to give you some hope heading into the final round, into the next half. Can EDG put a 7-5 together here?
That's a great Red Bull clutch to start things for them.
Both chambers with the tour de force. It looks like PRX might be faking a bit of B control right now. The spike's still in top mid. I don't think this is going to be a commitment over towards B. The idea just being to pull the EDG players around. Still 3 of them looking to anchor A. Not biting on it just yet.
Still that presence from PRX as well, as they're just poking and prodding into the mid area, hoping for players to be working their way into their line of sight angles.
Face your fear!
Amazing attempt. Okay, well, Nightfall's going to be coming through. That does force out the null command.
And there's still enough time here to just cancel.
Yeah, if they wait this out, Jing is going to have to showstopper, but this is an important fight to take. Kankai!
Oh!
You got to be kidding. Tour de force. Players dropping like flies, and they know that the position is contained. Finally, no solution at play. A bit of an exchange there. Bullet for the rocket. It is that 1-for-1. Mind Freak. Oh, he's got a lot to do. Okay.
Mind Freak. Now in a
Dari
1-for-1 against HaLu.
Oh my god.
Is he going to be able to pull out a clutch?
It is Astra versus Astra. Which is the best? Which one the best Astra?
Stars available that obviously does not want to go into astral form. HaLu does have his own ult, and that's going to be wall dropped. Hopefully isolating a couple of fights, but it is mind games on mind games right now between both of these players. How do they want to take it?
You do not want to be playing mind games against Mind Freak.
No. Star as well as in position. There's going to be a pull for Mind Freak.
The star on the spike indicates an A main positioning here, I think, for the post plan. But HaLu is still looking towards Secret. He's got the right read if only he commits.
And now onto the spike.
No!
It is the wrong read.
That was so good. Good clutch. Oh my god.
To finalize this half, and it's evened up for Edward Gaming and PRX.
For second 12 skill bengkai 11 skill.
This play is amazing and just gets PRX right back into it for even. What a shot. What a play.
Perfect.
And Mind Freak managing to get the clutch out the end there.
Mentality breakdance, mentality breakdance.
Mentality breakdance apa anjing?
I can feel how much it means for the PRX. The watch party back in Singapore. Huge scenes all around. That's going to do it for the first half. Let's send it down to the analyst desk to break down all the action thus far.
Thank you very much, Bren and Saisha. I'm back here with Mimi and Achilles. None of us are disappointed, are we?
It's everything I could have wanted
Yeah.
it more. Perfectly tied up at a 6-6 here at the end of it. It's just been action-packed the whole way throughout. Incredible clutches coming through as well. I'm just beside myself with happiness. This is great.
I want to talk about Kung because we didn't really get to focus on him too much in the
Sure.
pre-match, but he is a crazy player. You know how crazy he is. Do you feel like he went as crazy as he normally does?
Yes, and in some regards, a little bit more crazy than he did in the LCQ. This guy will just re-peak angles that you think nobody should mess with, and he will come up with value more often than not. He's nuts.
Yeah, there was so much trust put in him in that first half. He was so often alone towards the B side of the map. The sets were really cool from Edward Gaming, but I'm interested in what we're going to see into this second half, because
Sure.
again, there's been two solutions to this map. One for Edward Gaming has been that Astra Viper composition, which I think can really thrive on this defensive side. Now switching over to the attack, I'm wondering if they're going to struggle a little bit more, because when you're lacking that Sage, B is really hard to hit into. It makes you have to have an added element of complexity. It makes you have to lean into these splits, which for PRX they weren't really doing. With that Sage, they could just be super execution heavy. So on this attack, we're going to need to see something different from EDG.
I want to see the Viper Wars, what they can do with the Viper, but I also think that, I know Achilles, you are kind of weren't sure if 6 rounds would be enough for them as we were watching the game. I think it's enough. I think this is EDG could take this.
I certainly still have faith in this squad. PRX, they're finding their stride and whatnot. They managed to bring it back for to close out that attacking half relatively well after considering how everything started. But I think they still have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, I think the Fade Race is going to be really good on this defensive side. PRX is great at those combos.
Well, let's jump back into game. I can't wait to see what's going to happen, Bren and Saisha, in the second half.
Certainly been shaping up to be an excellent series. 6-6.
Kung 13 skill, nobody 10 kill.
At least of the momentum of the map.
I think so much of it can still shift on this pistol round, honestly.
Absolutely.
And Kang, I said he normally has, a ton of duels. The most active player in Champions. He's even more active than usual right now. 13 and 10. Over a kill per round by a long shot in that first half. And he's going to be required to open things up here. You don't want to put too much of the pressure on your substitute Smoggy.
What he's going to be facing. Fight potentially kicking off in hard as well. In fact, yep, the players, they want to take it. Not afraid of any sort of aggression from both of these teams. It's very purposeful at that, and look at this still. Double doors locked down. It's going to be almost a triple face, as well as the players look to swing out and again regain control of it.
That's all 5 players.
PRX mainnya agresif banget ya di
Way more than
Link
EDG were expecting to have to deal with. And
Art.
any reactive play to be off the back of the Viper wall doesn't have the spike. I mean, there's just nothing to be done here. PRX are all over it. Chichu's going to have to be able to pick off Benkai just to start this one.
It has to start here, doesn't it? The slight angle that Benkai is holding means that
no Kong Kong or Kung Kung
should know the positioning as well, I believe.
lurking 1 versus 4.
Know that he's lurking deep potentially behind them in the alleyways.
At this point, it's just a numbers game. You don't even mind losing a player early just to figure out where the guy is.
Yeah. Jiggle.
Oh, nice shot.
Forsaken's on an off angle.
Yeah, needs to be safe hands though. Shots are actually being missed here, but not a lot of time on the clock for us.
Oh, what incredible patience there from the rest of PRX. They
Do not do that, okay? Do not do that.
And then immediately
do not teabag someone.
With the classic instead. Just gorgeous stuff. And that, I think, is one of the big differences between these teams actually, is that PRX have all of that experience to just learn when the aggression needs to be tempered heavily. Having said that, EDG have been pretty good at it so far this map, but they're going to get tested on the attack side, especially now that PRX have taken the lead for the first time in the series.
This is where you might start to see them snowball that lead a little bit further. Obviously no spike plan here for Edward Gaming.
This is so fast. Yeah. Edward Gaming have found out what the trademark is, very common position from Forsaken, and just immediately ran on top of it.
They're happy to give them control, it looks like, at the alley. There's roaming around that boombot, just refusing to die. Whole load of
what?
as well.
Wow, that one.
Easily enough to just chew through the bodies that might be trying to approach them, and again, just up to cheat.
Tapi next, di bonus round, apakah masih bisa di adik-adik?
In terms of the round, at this point, you're just thinking about what to do next on your buy.
Yeah, I think this is a good time actually to take a look at the Viper setup. You can see here how his Viper wall from Chichu is denying information for PRX and forcing them to play B aggressively.
Oh, nice shot. Get Marshall.
Off a 1v5 to win this round. It's a good start for him, but Jing shuts it down. But this Viper wall that he's using is one of the big things that PRX are missing on their attack side, because it allows EDG to pick rounds where they can try and lurk somebody up, be long, or put the whole team contacting up behind the Viper wall there as well. And so,
Edward Gaming did not drop a single map during East Asia last chance qualifier.
And if they
wow.
want flexibility in terms of their smokes on the rest of the map, that's HaLu's responsibility.
This is the buy round now.
And a pretty healthy bonus for PRX too. Forsaken going to invest in Operator similarly to Kanka on the defensive side and playing it.
But this is Valorant Champions where the best of the best player come into the unknown.
So far, early days for Edward Gaming. In fact, they are willing to give a lot of respect in mid, it seems.
Look at the two duelist players for PRX, Jing and Forsaken, have so much control over the extremities here.
There's so much space.
I mean, Jing is just getting monstrous information and only pays for it with a single wallbang bullet.
Still down to the minute mark in the round. Does have to be cautious now. Star being dropped, a bit of spam through the wall. There's a trademark in place too that hasn't been removed. Trying to do a bit of a pre-fire up onto it. You can see that's a trap play in motion. As soon as they even get a whiff of that being triggered, they try and go for a pull as well, seeing if they can capitalize, take any players down with them. But a fast pivot now into Art as well. Space needs to be gained, and it looks like it is that A split with the fragment off to the side, making sure nobody's inside that smoke.
And it's down to Benkai to see if he can grab somebody. Here comes Devi, super quick behind, didn't check the back of the box.
30 seconds left.
Down to Mind Freak. Smoke on the one side of him. Trying to stay alive here. Benkai to the back as well. That's going to be util dumped into it. The nade to try and push them back. On top of that, the satchel. Spike still not being planted. A fight. Oh, it needs to be taken. Forsaken with the operator. He doesn't want to overstep himself. Benkai's at the back of the side as well in secret. Just trying to deny it. The time is running so low now. Pinging it on the pre-fire angle. Fights are being taken. Benkai. But he just needs to spam this and he wins. He just needs to
oh
spam
no.
Wins,
oh.
It's a close round, and one that EDG takes away with some very nice mid-rounding. There's another big question for EDG. when the rounds get tough, when the fast plays don't work, and you heard about it in the interview that Yinsu and Mimi were doing earlier, when the rounds get tough and when the fast plays don't work, do they have those adjustments, those pivots in the middle run? And they did here. They faked a mid-doors push, immediately rotated everybody quickly through art, and took a pinch into A, played the post plan with discipline. This is some great play coming out of EDG on their attack.
Good information gathered.
Yeah, that is a fantastic knife lineup. Perfectly catches onto Forsaken. Not only do they know his position, but most of the time that's going to force a rendezvous. Not for Forsaken, though.
And he's still disrespecting it, still holding this angle. It was smoked off, but Kangkang's just lurking all the way through. Tries to get the spray down for the 2K, but eventually he's going to be shut down. But it has pulled players from PRX on the defensive side, leaning over towards that B area. And some re-clear, it looks like, as well from Jing as he's making his way through art into mid, making sure there's no late look over towards A.
Going 1-for-1 with the chamber does benefit EDG. Pumping the brakes here is a gorgeous call from HaLu. It's going to allow him to work off the Viper wall and deny information, especially with that trademark going missing. It forces Benkai to play towards mid doors, and now Jing's got some control over mid. Benkai can rotate back. EDG have an opportunity here to commit to B, but they've got to be quick now.
Yeah, they have to be fast.
30
Information is already gathered prior. That's from Mindfreak. Nice sees over the top. That's onto just one of the players. Almost trying to go over this plan. Benkai. Oh, the angle is there. Wants to take the fight, but the weaponry was just not ideal. I believe just a stinger in his hands. It's going to be this flank coming up into the top of B. There has to be a player watching this angle now, and then you have it. Not quite enough to find the kill, though, and a nade. Oh, that is impeccable. That is...
Oh, no!
He moves his crosshair away.
Jing thought he got the kill.
He just assumed he had it.
Whoa, what a kill from Smoggy. And that allows him to deny the Sage Wall as well.
Portion of it blocked off.
17 health. No shot. He manages to pull off another clutch like he did in the first half.
He's pretty much just already given it up. No attempts to make his way over towards the spike, just seeing if he can take the guns away. Not even getting that, though. Just has to back away and save his own rifle in the play of things. 8-8 is going to be the scoreline here. Edward Gaming. And I got to say, I think this is a beautiful time to highlight it, Josh, here. Edward Gaming. It's their first time on the international stage. They're also playing with a sub in the form of Smoggy. They're going toe-to-toe with the finalists of Copenhagen.
Yeah, and that is spectacular. Of course, Pearl is a map that we don't have any info about. We don't really know how good PRX are on this map compared to the competition. But I can tell you that PRX look prepped, and they've got some good ideas, and they're playing the info game well, and EDG are still managing to find opportunities to outplay them. This is dead even currently.
EDG, they're a last chance qualifier team. They shouldn't have had a lot of time to prep on this map, on Pearl. It's the opener for us, and clean as ever. That's Kangkang. Easily a bit of a tip-tap there at a rifle. Spam as well, going to be supplemented with the help of his teammates. Nade over the top, and a satchel to be used. Jing, of course you want to take the fight again. Unexpected. Forsaken. Oh, you're taking some liberties with that one, Devi. Still safe hands apparently with the Sheriff in his hands. This is a half by a reminder. PRX are quick to answer back.
And this could quickly get crazy. Devi now with a res online. There are two bodies here, but both in areas that it should be very difficult to get reses off. If you just wait for EDG to commit to a site though, one of these bodies at least is going to open up.
You are divided.
Interesting wall.
Yeah, just cuts Devi off. I think Devi just wants to play quietly here. Just chill, play off the back of your ult. But Jing, as ever, going for it.
Showstopper's online. Does he want to use it?
Whoa!
A rainy day because the Thrifty is in their hands.
What a round by PRX. Just showcasing that they have talent in spades as well. Both of these teams.
Nice bait ya tadi tuh kayak.
Jing, this repeat is absurd.
Yeah, it's demonic.
Dawai nunggu di balik apa namanya? Di balik. Nah, itu di balik wallnya Astra.
Of course,
Terus Jing coba masuk.
That is what you'll have to see. Oh, for players like these, what a joy it must be to be back on the biggest stage in Valorant. It feels like they were only just off the stage, PRX. But you get that itch, it's got to be scratched. PRX as well have not had to go through groups at any point this year. They were able to just go straight into
8, 9
Masters tournaments. Now
4 menang lagi untuk PRX dan 5 menang lagi untuk Edward Gaming. Siapa yang masuk ke upper bracket dan siapa yang masuk ke lower bracket?
Champions of 16 teams all coming together.
Bristling with skill.
Capstone of the year, isn't it?
It really is. Another moment, PRX managing to take that thrifty and spin what should have been a 9-8 lead for EDG into their favor, pushing EDG back onto a thrifty of their own. So in effect, that's a 2-round swing right there.
Edward Gaming ekonominya lagi gak bagus ya. Ini mungkin next round.
A pivotal round that changes the entire map.
You can argue that's a 3-round swing. It goes from 9-8 to probably 8-10, as long as PRX are able to stop a thrifty on the other side of things. We haven't really seen this Viper Wall getting a ton of value. Maybe this is one of the rounds, but the trademark...
That's going to be the senpai!
What the hell?
He gave Jing all the information, he double satcheled over the wall!
What a demonic set play!
Joking!
Oh my god, Jing! That was so good, Jing!
Get that one in a highlight reel immediately.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Jing's been on TikTok.
Yeah, I am speechless at that one. But that's the kind of preparation, obviously, that you can come into a map like this with when you are PRX. You've had all the time in the world off the back of Copenhagen to think about how you wanted to handle this map.
Benkai did say at the end of Copenhagen, we're always going to keep it fresh. We're still going to be playing aggressive. That was a PRX special. And Jing follows it up, taking out Kanka, the tip of the spear here.
Oh my god.
Nobody as well, cleaning things up. Jing had a bit of a slow
start. Tapi untuk next round, Edward Gaming bisa full buy.
It's so important, I think, when you're playing against a team like Edward Gaming. You have to keep up the confidence.
And Jing's just messing with him. Jing is just messing with him for the divide flank.
Oh!
HaLu reads it.
These are not players you really want to be messing with. Even HaLu eventually shut down, but there is mechanical ability in spades on either side for both these rosters. But this is the lead that we were talking about.
Show me that replay and try it in your own ranked games.
That is
what a gorgeous angle.
And it was off just the slight trigger there.
What a good
hit. You could easily get 3 with a setup like that. And it makes the Viper Wall, it kind of neuters the Viper Wall. This time, possibly for the first round, Chichu choosing not to commit it over on B.
Looks like a faster play though, that's going to be no command and that Nightfall. Scatters through. Gonna get a 1 tag, of course the disrespect being shown still by Forsaken, but he's gambled onto the wrong angle and kills are being found. One after the other. Benkai hiding behind the wall. This is a position that he's been playing time and time again, but does he have the teammates to try and bail him out of it? Bit of a spam angle. Things are there to try and line it up for him. The answer is yes. PRX are coming through with the guns. Still the spike is planted, but damage more than done with the Resurrect online. It's now the 3v2. Have to play inside of this pit. We'll just spam it out. You might get lucky.
140.
Stray bullets coming through. Chichudo now he's repositioning, moving his way through a tap of the spike. That's going to be, I believe, the pull to offset that. The back of their minds, they know that nobody's going to be over this one and still taking the fight once more. Another tap with the smoke in place. What a clutch in the end of it.
With a vandal inside the Viper's pit.
Just breaking all the rules.
Dari tadi Edward Gaming nggak pernah kalah ketika mereka ngeluarin ulti.
Onto the head from Chichu there. And that, I think, just showcases
maksudnya Viper ngeluarin ulti.
It doesn't matter if Chichu's in a 2v3 with 10 HP. 1 bullet, I think, was all that he had. Oh, 2 bullets left. But that is the final bullet in the clip. That, again, magnetically finds the head of Benkai. Chichu has been keeping them in this game. Kang opens it up and Chichu puts it to bed right now.
It's a very fast round off of largely pretty slow play, but look at this. All this positioning being gained up B long now by the defenders.
And this is the conditioning. EDG don't want to go towards B because of the trap plays, because of the trademark. Oh, Forsaken almost punished there.
Felt very low.
Love this Viper smoke as well.
Forsaken dari tadi mainnya agresif banget ya.
In combo. And if you use the trademark on B long, it's not there at mid doors. And that is what EDG have decided to pivot towards.
Angle still being watched though. Fight still needs to be taken. Mindfreak with that pull. Vulnerability, I think, onto Chi-Chu.
What a nice one.
Crosshair placement.
And those are the kind of fights that EDG winning in their online games where they just force the battle. But PRX good enough to punish them for it. And now PRX have infiltrated everywhere. Jing, Benkai, all the way into the attacker's spawn.
Yeah, this is chaos. Chaos just being sowed.
But that's the way that EDG like it. They thrive in the chaos.
No charges.
Haunt to try and re-clear because obviously they're wondering, okay, are they on A, are they on B, are they in mid?
HaLu has a timing. HaLu has a timing to be able to get this planted. And Smoggy could have tried to go aggressive, look for a pick.
Spike planted.
This is a very unorthodox plant location as well. Just underneath heaven.
Smoggy's got a great idea here. He knows that Devi could be around there.
I'm wondering now. I think Devi is aware. I think he might have just seen the edge of his model. Double satchel play across. Tip tap there. Reset of the aim is good enough, but he is being flanked, I believe, from behind. Player from under there. Devi actually going for the wall to try and lock off one of the angles. It's a double face in the end. Mindfreak does win out that fight, and now this wall is causing all sorts of issues. Eventually, will fade away, but the spike is being stuck. And again, the angles watch. Mindfreak, this guy is a demon when he's on the stage.
I had questions about Mindfreak's performance from Copenhagen, honestly, Brent. Mindfreak had poor performances at the global level for every LAN that he'd been to before Copenhagen. And then he turned up and he was talking about how much more seriously he was taking his Valorant performance. And I don't think it was a one-off. I think Mindfreak's incredible play towards Copenhagen seems to be replicating itself again in this map. He's kept up that pace magnificently with a 4K in that round, the ult to clutch things as well. And PRX are dragging a lead, kicking and screaming away from EDG. If they're able to put away this anti-eco,
Flash over the
that
top.
point.
Oh no!
With the Vandals. PRX. They are going to be winning this one out. The reset at the end. Benkai. We need a bit of help surely from the rest of his team.
Almost dead.
15 health. And he is skipping a hop.
Wow.
White warbang takes him out. 2v2 and a fast flank from Devi right behind them.
It's so quick. The PRX players are flanking instantly on a map this large.
You don't anticipate it. You don't. Timing's been played off, but he has slowed it down. He's not going to be taking the fight to them. Just wants to try and contain.
And a lot of discipline for Forsaken.
Yeah. Slight jiggle and attack on that plan as well. They are looking to see if they can force out these angles. That is the one-for-one fight. Just being missed. A whiff.
Oh my god! Get a whiff. Oh my god, Devi. Oh.
It's EDG with a thrifty conversion off the back of Chi-Chu clutching once more. Chi-Chu is so comfortable in these clutch positions, but that never should have been given to him. He baited out a swing from Devi and just dodged at the perfect moment to throw him off.
Yeah.
And can't pop off. Go get it, my son. Global stage. Why not? The finalists of Copenhagen getting brought to round 22 here, and you still couldn't call it. PRX gathering all of their players up towards mid, expecting to go for some kind of crunch. But instead, EDG, it's one of the first rounds where they pour players into B.
And it's a fast play. Star still being dropped down. That's going to be a pull to disrupt it once more as they hit a plan, and that Horde has not been dealt with. An easy spray down for Forsaken. The players lit up like a Christmas tree. Nobody's still trying to deal a bit of damage, though, in the midst of it. See if he can turn the tide of the fight. These smokes are causing a lot of issues for them. Another one popped up just to see. There's a gun in play. That's going to be picked up, and now they know the positioning, but works his way around. That's Jing again, causing all sorts of mischief in the play. Nobody sprays him. That's 4 kills in it for him now. 18 bullets in the clip. Position going to be revealed. This is a warbangable angle.
The Haunt didn't reach.
It didn't, but he's still slightly aware. Too many angles to watch for. Devi should be favored. 125 health, and he knows the positioning of nobody.
Nightfall to play with if nobody thinks he has a moment to unleash it.
30 seconds left.
This
Oh my god.
One shot is all it takes.
Menegangkan.
And he gets redemption for the previous round where he should have been able to put PRX onto map point.
Tapi di sini dual gaming ada 3 ultimate up ya. Baik.
12-10 the lead here for PRX. And the fast play, this is one of the first rounds where we've seen EDG go for a fast play. And it did get countered. Nobody did a great job of being able to bring it back into a 1v1, but the haunt through the fiber wall,
Gila main macam-macam anjing.
forcing those B-side anchors. They had the read.
Just a slight miss on that protocol, I think, of who should be destroying the utility that comes through. But again, another fast play is being made. That's a Nightfall through a main. Counter play as well. It is a fake. There's not too many players. Bit of whiffage in play at the end of the day. It's Edward Gaming who are coming out on top. But now they have to deal with this one. Penkai. Oh my goodness. They just about see him. Either his feet giving him away or what. I'm not too sure. Down to Mind Freak. And this guy has been capable of real scenes before. But going to be leaving him. You can have A-side, mate. We're not going to be dealing with you anytime soon.
They've left Chichu here to cut off the rotate.
They're going to be hearing this.
But what happens in a 1v3 is that Mind Freak is actually given this opportunity to make it a 1v2. If he's aware that somebody could still be lingering, doesn't even think about it, and Chichu's gamble pays off. 11-12, one away from overtime. And what a bizarre round that was, Bren. And it knocks the PRX economy back down onto a rough 5. Look at how this one played out. They faked the Nightfall into A. Counter Nightfall comes out as well. And PRX decide to push into mid, anticipate. There can't be that many players in mid if they're Nightfalling A. And instead, everyone from EDG is ready to collect the crunch. What a massive advantage EDG have in this final round. Big ultimates online, huge economic advantage. This should be an OT map.
It really should. Expectations out the window, I think, for where we thought that might be going. Not many people, I think, would have predicted Pearl as our opener.
Not at all.
Total Force going to be unleashed.
Only HaLu towards mid, and PRX have been getting aggressive.
Free clear.
So I like this passive positioning. He dodges the Prowler as well. And now, as the IGL, telling the rest of his team to fake with the Haunt over towards B and actually bring their players back. Look at how aggressive PRX are again, though.
I think Edward Gaming are aware, though. HaLu's going to be calling that it was a deep Prowler.
I mean, he doesn't realize this time.
Timing is absolutely everything here. Right in their faces, a fight being taken, and of course your favorite there with a Stinger. Bit of an exchange of weapons as well onto the ground. That's going to be an upgrade for Benkai.
No.
There with the C's, but at the end of the day, they do have that positioning, and time is running so low now. Down to 40 seconds.
And look how PRX go from being extremely aggressive up in mid to abandoning it completely. They can play with the time, with the player advantage. And EDG have to worry about all of these spots. They had everything to bring this to OT, and suddenly, it looks like it's slipping away from them.
Just turned on its head, it feels like, but with the Viper spit down, there is a potential opportunity. Tap of the spike, but time is running so low on top of this, and Forsaken that tour de force from earlier. Well, it's coming in handy. Spike dropped outside of the pit, you can pick it up, you can try and plant it, but
oh! Forsaken, oh my god!
Absolutely everywhere, and there is not enough time on the clock. You have secured yourself.
Oh my god!
13.
Oh my god, that was a fucking good game from PRX, man.
It's PRX that managed to come away with the win.
Oh my god.
But I gotta say, this was a smart pick from EDG. We'll only tell as the tournament goes on whether it's them that are good on the map or whether PRX maybe, you know, aren't as comfortable, but I was not expecting map 1 to be this close between these two teams. I think PRX have showcased that they have the talent and the awareness, the strategy to be able to contend with some of our best teams. If they can keep that up over the course of the series,
God gracious. Oh my god, that was so good.
This has been a spectacular opening showing.
I mean, when you consider the circumstances,
They're playing with a sub.
They're playing with a sub. Still, bringing it to the distance almost.
How different it could have maybe been.
Absolutely.
Tiba-tiba gue pengen banget baca chatnya.
Some awesome moments from the EDG players, but PRX leaning on that experience, leaning
GG back your
very good calling.
No, do not be toxic ya. Maksudnya dari kedua tim sudah bermain dengan sangat-sangat bagus. Edward Gaming, holy shit, the aim, the sense, and PRX juga anjir bagus banget.
What a way to open up Champions. That map was a delight.
Yeah, it was. I mean, going the distance, I think as well. The confidence that the Edward Gaming players are showcasing has been second to none, and I'm so glad they've come and brought the battle to a team like PRX as well.
2 game lagi. Karena dia best of 3.
Breaking down all the action and going to set up that critical map number 2, so don't go anywhere.
Best of 3? Best of 2 or best of 3? We're gonna take a break for a moment.
What a start for PRX. They're the first team on this international stage to take a win on Pearl. I'm Yingsu and I'm back here with Achilles and Mimi. Again, we said this at the halftime, but I think that was everything we wanted to see from PRX and EDG.
Yeah, it was such a cool matchup in this one because it was, for once, not only two teams that are stylistically similar playing on such a big stage, but also a debut for a very new map. And I think the ideas that both these teams showed us were really creative. So many little one-off plays. The preparation really showed for both squads.
Yeah, it was incredible the whole way throughout. I mean, much like we saw, Brendan Sideshow freaking out, we were freaking out on the desk when we had Jing do the double satchel over the top, get the rocket hit on the, that push coming through from the B side. It was just great. And those are the kinds of things we were talking about, wanting to see those little lineups, those nice little niche plays that you can make from time to time on a new map. And there was plenty of that shown throughout.
Yeah, and it was impressive as well because for EDG, they're coming in with a substitute. Smoggy has to come through last minute. He did pretty darn well for himself as an individual, and everyone on this squad stepped up. I liked what they showed us in that first half on that defense with their double controller composition. I think PRX really had to change on the fly. And there was a couple rounds to take a look at here, and the first was just how PRX was playing on this attack. Their executes were beautiful, particularly when they were playing with this Sage. Really fast to claim space, get themselves onto these sites, and EDG, I think, sometimes struggled difficult to adapt. But in the second half, it was different. It was very much defined by the mid control.
Yeah, just wanted to have basically a chokehold around that mid control to make sure that they can just constantly try to funnel people into their positions. But I mean, PRX, despite the fact that this map is so big, you can tell that it's well versed for them. They're well aware of the rotations that are coming through from EDG, because when they have these deep rotations coming in from behind, they're perfect. They're making sure they have somebody poised. They're expecting somebody to come from that deep flank.
Yeah, and I think it is really cool as well, because both these teams had a very good understanding, not only of generally what the map identity is in being defined by that fight from mid. We saw that evolution throughout the second half. EDG was fighting there pretty much every round, and PRX kept on throwing new ideas to be able to fight that through, but also for what works for their individual compositions. You have to play a different way if you're running that comp that EDG had, or if PRX had, and both teams showed us those ideas.
Yeah, at the end of it, I just love that this really came down to the wire. We almost got ourselves into an overtime in the first map, first time ever seeing Pearl, and so many of these rounds were decided by Thrifty's clutches, sometimes Thrifty clutches, and it just shows that these teams are able to fight and operate at a very similar level. And as we move back into much more familiar maps, things that have been played before, I'm expecting it to get even more tight-knit between the two.
I mean, you can definitely see why EDG picked that map. I'm glad you guys both mentioned some of the crazy rounds, because we have one right here to show you guys in our Verizon high-speed moment of the match. And this was just back-to-back 3Ks. I think this is what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, it starts off with Kong finding an absurd 3K here with that tour de force, but it comes back even better from Mindfreak. We knew this guy for the clutch at Copenhagen, and some of his big performances towards the end of the first half, this round in particular, winning out on a 1 versus 4, is what brought PRX back into things, gave them that momentum to go into the second half and be able to close.
Yeah, I mean, it's just wild. There were so many times, we should say, that we changed, because we were trying to figure out what is the moment going to be, what possible round do we go for. That was the one that we landed on, but we had to alter it like 5 times going throughout this, because there were so many high-speed moments that could have qualified.
Yeah, they were indeed. But before we talk about Icebox, let's take a look at our Aim Lab shoot-around. I believe we have Forsaken right now as he's warming up here on Aim Lab. And I do want to say, I think one of the reasons we respect PRX so much is that in those chaotic times, they play with a lot of discipline as well. And I think, Mimi, once EDG, they have more experience on that stage, they get a little more refined. That discipline is going to be the difference between losing 2 or 3 or maybe 4 Thrifty round and actually just winning that map outright.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have made comparisons between these two teams, saying that PRX is kind of a more refined version of what EDG shows. I don't think that's necessarily fair, but we see some of those moments. We see that aggression, but we also see these really tempered setups from PRX. But one of the most exciting things about this game is, despite the changes to Chamber, we again had a crazy Chamber head-to-head. Forsaken was very much kind of defined by this role in the past, and I really love the way he played that agent on this map, particularly on the attacks. It's similar to PRX on Haven, where his lurks do a ton to set his team up.
The first bloods as well.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to dive in for. You know, Kong loves to get aggressive, especially whether it doesn't really matter if he's playing on attack or defense. He loves to go push an angle. He knows, okay, I've got a little bit less room to work with now that my TP range is reduced, but he's still making it work, and he's still managing to come up with huge value for his team.
Yeah, and on that defensive side for Kong, there's a lot of weight being put on him, because he is very often that sole anchor towards the B side of the map, holding that space down completely alone, generally putting his trademark towards one side, sometimes mid or sometimes towards B, and varying his setup. So you have to be performing. You have to be getting those first bloods, getting out, setting your team up for the retake, and he did a very good job at it.
Yeah, let's talk about the next map now. Familiar territory, finally. We've seen Pearl. It's time for us to move on to map 2, which is Icebox, and this is PRX's pick. I do just want to quickly talk about Smoggy, because obviously he's standing in today for EDG. He has played a bit of Jet, Achilles. Are you expecting him to just slot in what Life would have played here?
Like I said, that's his all-time, if you look at it, that's his all-time most played, but it has been a considerable amount of time since he's been playing it. He's been going for a bit more of that kind of hyperflex role, playing smokes, playing fade, etc. I'd be really curious to see if he does go for the Jet.
We back to the game.
In the wheelhouse of Kong. So maybe they can have him take over the chamber position and then shift Kong to a duelist.
Yeah, I think the questions around composition are really heavy on this side of EDG, but for PRX as well. In the past, they were playing the Fade Jet composition here, something that a lot of people do, and we have such a strong opera on the other side. You're losing out on that Sova, on that drone, on some of that utility that's really good at shutting down. So I'm interested.
Let's go. Oh, Jet.
Yeah,
for a second, Jet.
Gaming agent select here, and so far everything, it looks like, yeah, Smoggy is going to step right into that Jet position like we expected.
Yeah, it's looking bog standard for both these squads. A lot of teams, particularly in NA, have started to move to KO on this map since his buff is kind of that second initiator, but neither of these teams will go in that direction, and I think that is solid. This Fade comp for PRX has worked in the past. The way they use those cats on the attacking side to clear space, and also on the defense to kind of
Gantian ya,
make
Davai
up
sama
the
Jing.
lack of someone
Kumau.
besides that chamber to really hold down the mid control is super nice. On the other side, though, it's kind of comfort. It's standard for EDG.
Yeah, I mean, double duelist coming out here for the side of PRX. I think that they're just going to be looking to very much push the pace a little bit here.
Yeah, I think also Davai is the one that plays chamber here, right? Which is something that we don't see on the other maps. I think we're so used to seeing Force.
Isn't always that same style that we see out of Davai. He often is. I mean, he said the two duelists. He's oftentimes playing it in a role just like that, where he does get quite aggressive with his team on the attack. On the defense, he's really flexible because you do have that Fade to help with the mid control.
Yeah, I mean, this is also talking about PRX. If they win this, they're going to be moving on to the next upper bracket of this group, which means they'll play the winner of Leviathan or Team Liquid. And we spoke about this in the pre-show, but you don't want to be in that lower bracket in this group, because every single one of these teams in this group has the potential to make it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we get to see all 4 of them play today. Coming up as the second series, it's going to be absolutely crazy. So you want to be staying in that winner's bracket. Everything to play for here.
Yeah, let's jump into Icebox right now. Throwing this over to you, Bren and Saisho.
Thank you very much, Insu. Yeah, we're going to be getting into the action very, very soon here. And Icebox is one of familiar territory, as the desk has already mentioned as well. This is where we get to see how are Edward Gaming going to be doing up against PRX on a map that they are very familiar with and they are very comfortable with.
I think the big question heading into Icebox is, did Pearl make EDG look closer to our finalists from Copenhagen, or are they actually for real? Forsaken getting pushed away by the drone. Start things off.
Aggression. How do you come up with 2? And he wants a bit more. Fight still being taken, but that's going to be the right click and play. Chichu eventually dealing with him. A nice and easy trade.
Smoggy is a pistol demon. He did the same thing in round 1 of Pearl. Ran forwards, got 2 kills, 3 kills, in fact, on Pearl. Instantly with the Ghost.
At this point, 2
Pistol demon, eh?
Scrambling a little bit, I think. If you are PRX, you can see Benkai now forced to re-clear out through kitchen. Watching for that mid-push because A's been compromised for quite some time.
And look at how good EDG have been at pumping the brakes when they get into a man advantage situation on the attack side. They did it on Pearl. They're doing it again here as well. Just take a moment, pause, make the PRX defenders spread out around the map. They'll set you up better.
A lot of damage done at the end of the day, but the kills returned for EDG.
And it's another great pistol round unless Mindfreak can pull off a 1v4. It just doesn't seem doable. Maybe if Haldon gives him a fight.
Yeah, not quite. Intelligent play, isn't it? Just a quick little peek. Now crossfire setup, so.
And of course, Mindfreak worried that these players are just baiting him. Worried about a flank coming through. Kankang is there, but a long way away. And nobody's good for it. Shuts down both of those stragglers left alive.
Yeah, I went crazy with it in terms of the pistols. And honestly, getting off to a nice early lead, something to get the momentum going for Edward Gaming, I think bodes well in this map.
It definitely, absolutely does. The lack of Life I thought was going to hurt them on this map, because Life is their Jet player. Smoggy hasn't really been playing Jet recently. They don't have the same agent pools, at least on face value. But Smoggy looked pretty good there just on the pistol. Not that it required too much of the Jet play style.
So that prowess, not really being flexed really, but still shots were found.
Kills are kills at the end of the day, aren't they?
Yeah, and they have bought into this one with 2 rifles. You can see that Kankang and Smoggy do have that in play. That's one of the headhunter bullets just not taken out.
Oh no, gak sempat teleport.
Bit of run and gun, obviously, in play there when you got the Spectres. At this point, it's about making sure that you don't lose anybody else if you are Edward Gaming.
By the way, Kung ini rada-rada greedy mulu ya.
Keep this as clean as you possibly can. Haldon with a pistol. I mean, shooting the
You are
body.
literally reloading, son, because of that.
That is
bad manners costing you your life.
Okay, Kankang still got it under control. They're not getting punished for it particularly. And HaLu, of course, only losing a ghost, not too bad. But I think that shows us a friendly rivalry going on here within the APAC. Head-to-head.
And these two teams, you might think as well.
Banyak banget dia BM Batmaner dia. Which is good. PRX had the highest ACS, second highest ADRs, third highest KPI and master to Copenhagen.
As an Asian, it was an achievement that made me feel extremely proud. There'll be a lot of pressure and nerves for us to meet such a strong team for our LAN debut. I mean, you can tell that Kang really does respect what PRX have done in the past, respect the players as well, but always time for a cheeky...
Sure, bit of confidence.
Bit of body shooting.
Show that you're not scared of the finalists.
Exactly. It just helps remove all the nerves, doesn't it?
I think a conversion here of this bonus round for EDG would be fantastic. Because again, bring up the same question that we did at the very beginning as well. Was the first map close just because of Pearl, because of that unknown quantity, or can they do it on a map that PRX are particularly good at?
Jing is very aggressive up here on A, but it looks like the spike is heading over towards B. PRX are very familiar with this kind of play, but Forsaken making some noise here, and there's two EDG players.
Taking a lot of damage, but the angle's still being watched.
Baited in.
Yeah.
And that's a nice player advantage to be able to cook up. HaLu still left behind on what is going to become a strange late lurk. And on the other side of the map, despite not having many players here, PRX have still denied the plant. That is unlucky for Mindfreak.
And I love this proactivity. Already taking the back of the side as well, pushing right past their own Viper wall here. Risks are being taken. And they are being rewarded for it. Eventually, though, that is going to be the trade. You can see the Jing was able to catch that one, and Chi-Chu well caught with a util out in his hands.
But not getting the plant down has cost EDG here. HaLu is on the latest lurk of his life. He spent all of that time, Bren, just trying to pick up a Phantom.
And not enough time left in this round to really do too much more. It's going to be the double face. Easily dealt with, and it was looking good, honestly. I thought for a game plan from Edward King was to try and fight them in their spawn, push past that Viper wall.
But it was only Nobody that pushed through. It might have been great as a coordinated attempt. And listen, it's still a decent bonus round. They take two away. Here's the replay. Divide just being able to pick up those stragglers as they kind of just contested one at a time. Wasn't particularly coordinated once they fought at the end of that round. But EDG, like I said, it was still a bonus round. They've got 5 rifles coming into this. So now we get to see possibly just a single coordinated A push. The Viper wall going down at the beginning.
Not destroyed, you have to expect that somebody's pushed. When that goes down, kills are being found though, and yep, there you go. Dealt with. Little jump up there onto the box, gives Kang the angle.
And if you were wondering at the beginning of this game, were Forsaken and Jing just going to run over EDG, there's a round for you that answers the question. Taken down instantly by their counterparts, Kang and, in this match, Smoggy. And I love the fact that they just pump the brakes every time that they get a player advantage. Yeah. I think there is so many new teams to the global stage that will push an advantage as soon as they get it, without taking a moment to breathe.
Not willing to slow it down.
Never willing to slow it down, and that really was a concern for me with EDG, judging by how aggressive their players are.
Yeah, that's how they played.
But I think they're looking good here. They're just making sure that every advantage gets converted.
And it was said as well, before it was rumored, it was said in the interview that we saw prior as well, that EDG really did get tested as well by teams the likes of Exet, Optic.
In scrims, yeah.
Yeah, pushed them to improve. They've made radical improvements in that short amount of time that they have been here.
And they said they knew what the next step of their game plan would be. I think we're seeing it right here.
I think we're seeing it. Because there hasn't been this nuance before. When you watch their online games, if you're a fan of EDG, if you're watching that East Asia LCQ, you are seeing a step up, I think.
Yeah,
despite the fact that they're playing with a sub.
Yeah, that's the impressive part, isn't it? And PRX just forced to save in this round. HaLu had a lurk play going, actually, up towards the top of Tube. He just never got an opportunity to go for anybody. And now takes a peek into Divide and goes down, but that same kind of lurk play up through Tube could be a possibility. Look at how Smoggy just jiggle peeks that and is instantly looking for the player supporting Jing. This showcases to me that they understand how the top teams in the world are going to play. It's so easy for a team to forget that there's always going to be someone ready to support Jing.
Ready to bail him out.
But just noticing that there's going to be a trap there and being aware of where the player's going to peek from, I think that speaks very highly to how Smoggy and the rest of EDG are actually thinking about breaking apart these defensive setups. And it's another really good start to a map.
Oh!
That cloudburst onto the recon. Does avoid all of that one and a dash back. But just before Forsaken collects that kill onto Kang Kang.
And it's still A aggression from PRX, but it's much more proactive. Forsaken dropped down to 1 health.
Obviously being watched as well, just for that mid approach.
And that was
playing there a lot.
Yeah, that was HaLu on the lurk. Last time he went up tube, this time underneath. And how does Smoggy and Nobody play this?
Take flight. That's the question.
Dangerous position to drone from. It's only Smoggy watching.
Really
now
is.
Smoggy trying to work off the back of the drone.
But entirely doable, I think. Position is known. They know at the bottom side of tube here. Nobody. Right through. Recon's gonna be really good. He wallbanged him. That's. Oh my goodness.
What a play.
And Nobody has been elite in the online stage, but now a mighty task ahead of him. No bullets left. That Prowler just about latching onto his heels. 30 seconds remaining. Players are low.
30 seconds
Has
left.
to try and isolate a fight. On both of them, a single bullet will do it.
A single whiff, a breath onto Benkai and Forsaken would take them down.
And look at this play. The back of his mind. He has shown phenomenal game sense and mechanical ability. He contact plays towards A. Here's the footsteps, 10 seconds remaining.
Left.
No need for a headshot, but delivers it anyway. And he has his ult to play off, a shock dart, a recon dart. Nobody is so intelligent in these situations, and he is outplaying PRX right now.
It's down to this. Forsaken versus the newcomer to the stage. And honestly, just the slightest bit of damage will do it. It's all about timing here. It's all about timing. Back to back. Where are the players playing?
Oh my god!
Leave it!
Oh my god!
Found an ace to clutch it through. Welcome to Champs.
What a play. Nobody, this is his map. This is his playground. His Sova here is phenomenal. Managing to pick off Jing to start things out. Grabs the kill on Devi as well. And then this masterful clutch. Sure, on 2 players with barely a shred of health, but the way he played around the map was second to none.
That was so good, oh my god.
To take a timeout once more, very, very early in the map. EDG are getting off to hot starts. And PRX are forced to adapt. Brent, they've thrown an aggressive setup where Jing was hiding in Nest with Forsaken ready to peek. They've thrown just aggression at them, where Forsaken, Jing, and Devi all try to fight A belt. And both times, EDG have dealt with it. They've had players in positions to absorb the aggression, clear angles, and create advantages for themselves that they're able to clear out.
Such a class performance so far. I was so excited to see as well, this player Nobody on EDG, how he would go up against these players, because I think this is his opportunity to prove that he is the best player in the world. He's got the skill, he's got the game sense that we've been witnessing in this series. He just needs the scalps. He just needs the trophies underneath him.
Yeah, I completely agree. Nobody has been phenomenal from what I've watched so far. He's a star in the making. From a quieter position, obviously, than Kankan. But one of the stats that jumped out to me, actually, about Nobody, out of the, what do we have, 80 players in the tournament or something?
Yeah.
He's in the 7th place for damage per duel. He's outputting huge amounts of damage even when he loses duels against players. His aim is fantastic and he takes such smart fights. Able to put his team in positions to succeed.
Bit of that early aggression. Fast control of B main. Orb going to be propped up. In fact, Mindfreak's even playing inside of this one. But Spam might do the trick on the half buy here with the Stinger in play. Hops over the top of it. His orb is going down. He is isolated, but still gets away with it. Just the one on line. Forsaken's got the knives. How do you not get punished there?
Oh my god.
This angle slightly ajar. It's going to be able to find this one, but now the Hunter's Fury to try and supplement it. Pushes it through. Nobody just pre-firing at all the different angles. And he gets the damage, creates the space, that late lurk from HaLu enough to secure it.
And that's another gorgeous set play that EDG are going to run. Nobody once more setting up space for the rest of his team as HaLu goes for a lurk. There is thought behind the play here, for sure. Because look at the chaos that's created within the PRX ranks as they had a 4-stack waiting to collect all 5 players at that point.
Every burst of the Hunter's Fury using to clear an angle, push the players into HaLu.
And EDG actually look a little bit uncoordinated in terms of how they're getting the spike down on B, but they're being able to create enough pressure in mid that doesn't matter. PRX are being asked some serious questions right now, but with guns back in hands, Jing opting for a more passive approach to the A defense. I think they've spotted where he's hiding, though.
They suspect this one, I think. Breaking down portions of the wall. This is where Jing is in a lot of trouble. He's isolated. With shots like this, Kangang is leading the charge for his team.
He always is.
Bit of resin play though, a bit of disrespect being shown, but that's off the back of these footsteps that are being heard. Straight through mid now into orange. It's up to Mindfreak. What can he lock down? Is this angle going to be cleared? Updraft over the top. Information gathered. Not sure if he looked down or not, but he actually did spot out the one player. The discipline was there.
What a beautiful clear that was. I mean, that was so well played from Smoggy and HaLu in particular. And now PRX put in a horrible position to try and clear this. A crossfire in kitchen.
Just pinched on, isn't it?
Yeah, ripping them.
Pincer play.
Don't know whether that's quite a verb, but I like it. It's all down to Devi and Forsaken. These rounds have been magic from Edward Gaming.
Just have to save these rifles. Back away.
Almost.
Okay, they will get away with a couple of the weapons, but
this economic damage that they're doing to EDG doesn't even matter.
Look at the bank.
The death from Devi is more important than any of it. PRX managed to save a single operator, but no opportunity to get rounds on the board. And Bren, I think already our question has been answered. If we came into map 2 thinking, was it just Pearl that made EDG look close to our grand finals to Copenhagen? Nah, not at all.
Not the case.
Not the case.
I want to carry it away a lead like this.
Even if EDG have a comeback and are able to win the map, similar to Pearl, EDG, I think, have already showcased that they can go toe-to-toe with some of the best. And I don't know whether they're going to be able to pull off comebacks like that repeatedly.
No noise cues, though. This is a lot of aggression, including that haunt. Being watched, Prowler over the top. Got to suspect it. Got to know that the players are there. Indeed, the players obeyed. Forsaken. No Cloudburst in play. Can't cover his tracks.
Caught. Spike going down. All of the players from PRX on the other side of the map as well. HaLu looking to pick people up.
Aggressive play is being made. The off angle, though. What? You have got to be joking.
I mean, that is a really nice play. Just flooding players into HaLu there allows them to get rifles back. Whoa! Devi!
There's no way. There's no shot. You can't be whipping this.
Oh my god.
Still collects the kill. Down to Mindfreak. Noise bait.
Has a Viper's Pit.
Yeah. Suspected he might be.
There was... Oh my god. Ada chat baru. Siapa yang cita-citanya nonton turnamen bareng HaLu? Ajir. Saya bang. Lagi kalah. PRX 1-7 walaupun di ronde pertama PRX menang. Close match. Padahal ini map yang di-pick sama PRX itu sendiri. Seharusnya mereka lebih nyaman. Atau bisa jadi mereka lebih nyaman di attacking side ya daripada defending side.
Out of play here as Kankang takes it up towards Belt.
Nice one. What an impeccable one at that. No Mindfreak. No Viper utility to try and block off 410 or any sort of aggressive play that might come into way, and you can see that there's pace once more being injected behind this one. Just trying to clear out Maze, but they don't expect that Jing could be up top here. Viper's Pit is dropped down though, so these angles are not going to be quite as clear. Jing wants to try and drop down into them anyway.
Oh no. HaLu lagi bener-bener di map ini bener-bener on fire aja.
He just can't be stopped.
How is he getting this much value, man? He's using a Vandal in it as well. All the traces revealing his positioning.
But it doesn't matter because every shot's a headshot for HaLu.
Just robotic in terms of aim. Look at this guy.
Yeah. He looks fantastic inside there. And honestly, Brent, when I've been watching Edward Gaming, I would tell you HaLu is probably their weakest mechanical player.
HaLu dengan berapa kill ya?
But their weakest mechanical
11
player is
skill.
still better than maybe a third of the players in the tournament.
Yeah.
EDG's skill was never in question. This is a stacked roster coming out of China. And HaLu right now, 11-5. I mean, both HaLu and Chichu have found moments to put the team on their back. HaLu with his IGLing, with his performance, with his ults. Chichu with the clutches on map 1. It's been an all-round effort. And EDG are running.
Ini udah time out yang kedua dari PRX. Tapi di 8-1 sekarang.
Brent, what would this match have looked
Apakah
with a full roster?
Life was playing.
What? On Earth?
Apakah pertandingan ini akan full game, adik-adik?
Maybe we'll get the answer later in the tournament, actually. But for now, purely
Full 5 game.
but this should be, in theory, a weakened version of EDG.
SCPO1 baca.
Practice with them, of course, listed as a sub and traveled with them to Istanbul, so they must have been somewhat prepared to run him. But this is spectacular. Just for context, EDG are putting the hurt on PRX more so than even FPX did in the finals on Icebox. You know, this is a world-class performance coming out from EDG right now.
And those were the questions we had for this team. How are they going to be competing against the top dogs? Well, looking at that 8-1 scoreline, certainly feeling quite comfortable.
And they're actually playing quite controlled on these defaults too. EDG leaving not just Kankang to watch over towards A, but multiple players. Was that just to spam through the smoke there? I mean, Benkai deleted.
And still pressure.
Oh my god.
I mean, this guy just creates diamonds. You try and force the issue.
And he just goes for more, doesn't he?
Just relentless aggression. Willing to play confidently, take the risks, why not? Even against that half-buy.
When you're looking at Kankang, Brent, he's the most active player at Champions, right? That means he takes the most fights out of any player in the tournament. Number 2 is Jing, number 3 is Forsaken, and Kankang is still so willing to take these kind of fights. Obviously, this is an anti-eco round, but we've seen it all match so far.
Yeah. Honestly, as well, I was thinking, out of all these teams as well, which team is going to be most well-equipped for dealing with the kind of fundamentals that Edward Gaming love to have on display? It would have been PRX in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, PRX, FPX, these kind of teams. But there's Divide getting the better end out of Kankang as he goes for the widest swing with his attack operator. Perhaps this is the round where EDG might be getting a little overconfident, but listen, I can't blame them. They're 9-1 up currently.
Deploying drone.
And the res brings Kankang back online anyway. Puts him back on the line.
Well, that's going to be a push down for a tube. Forsaken is dealt with.
And there's never a hole in this default. At least not one that PRX can find. They exist on the map for sure, but it feels like EDG have a great read on where PRX's players are going to try and challenge. Which areas of the map they're prodding and poking.
Bit of spam with the Vandal. Fearless man.
Yeah. And that's HaLu pinging out the position that Mindfreak is normally holding the smoke from. These players are learning so quickly on the global stage.
Contact plays, on contact plays. This time it's Devi's turn, apparently, to try and work his way through down into tube, but again, just about brushing each other's backs, aren't they?
And the pit that's been used from Mindfreak, getting nothing.
30 seconds
HaLu
left.
finding the timing on everybody through mid.
Apart
from Devi. But this is brought to a 3v2, where once again EDG have site control. And apart from a couple of rounds early on in the half, they've been able to manipulate these defenders so well to always being set up on the angles first.
Intelligent from Mindfreak to be able to catch the one player out, but not quite.
10-1.
Not sleeping at the wheel, are they?
Adik-adik.
That is going to be the 10th round for them. Now we're getting into this last round of the half here, Josh.
I have not seen a half this dominant since map 1 of the grand finals, where the team that won Copenhagen destroyed PRX on buy. And that, at least, there's some logic behind it, because PRX's comp is very, unidimensional, one-dimensional on Bind in some senses. It has to push you. This map, they're running a normal comp. EDG is just plowing them.
You want to
Standard
play? Let's play.
Draft as well, cuts up those angles, knives in play on top of it. Using a drone to clear through. No stranger to this one, obviously.
On the other side of the map, Forsaken and Jing will not be deterred.
Yeah,
they're pushing aggressively again, even though normally EDG have 2 players watching for this. PRX are getting good information on the other side of the map.
I'll say, nobody is one away from his ult.
Here.
One kill will do it. Now that Viper fuel back up. It's going to be the snake bite drop down and an updraft. Play all the way up close and personal. Taking position into this. HaLu's pushing forwards. Jing should not really be favoured there. The fight's still being taken, but a nightfall on top of it. That's going to be pushing the players back and giving a bit of space now for Jing.
They know that Jing's behind. And Forsaken being able to win the jet battle has given his team a massive advantage. Are EDG going to go through a double push through the smoke? Just a single tap from HaLu, trying to trigger out some kind of response. But it's
Whoa!
With 2.
Oh my god, Forsaken.
Yeah, it's an honestly dominant half, dominant finish here from Edward Gaming, despite the fact PRX were able to get that last one under their belt.
Apakah ini waktunya adik-adik? Comeback Real.
Breakers all down.
Thank you very much, Bren. And Sideshow, what are we seeing here, Kilios? What are we seeing?
It is pure, unadulterated chaos and madness that I was talking about. This is just absolutely wild plays coming through. But something that doesn't really shock me, the draft, that's what shocked me. I think that if you have Haven open, that is a map that you should willingly be picking against EDG. Everything else is a little bit more up in the air. Icebox is absolutely one that I would have strayed away from. They play this against Onslayers in the LCQ in East Asia, and again, nobody ace on Sova. He just does it again. It's incredible.
Yeah, and they're so good on this map, and that's despite the fact that they're playing with a substitute. They pulled Smoggy in last second. He 1-for-1 fills the role, and he has been looking incredible here on Icebox. EDG have not skipped a beat in the coordination or in this guy's performance as an individual.
Yeah, let's talk about Smoggy, because we expected Life to be playing Jet on this map, but Kilios, what have you made of his role on Jet?
So far from Smoggy, honestly, kind of across both maps, is that he is playing serviceably for what his team needs. They don't need Smoggy to come in and have a Life-esque performance. Everybody else on the team is so good to be able to pick up where there are some moments of slack, but they just needed him to be serviceable, and he is absolutely doing that and a little bit more on top.
Yeah, and I mean, looking towards this second half now, no, don't be distracted by the
That's my gift to Benkai.
That's from you.
Yeah, that's from me.
That's so sweet, but it's not sweet right now for the PRX fans because it is looking grim for them. Only 2 rounds thus far. Their attacking side can struggle on this map sometimes. I think with the Fade, they're going to struggle to be able to counter out the operators on the other side. They're going up against a Jet and a Chamber comp. EDG can throw aggression. They can
That's so sweet.
really powerful
A gift
defensive side.
to
I don't think
Benkai.
bar some crazy PRX magic where they can come back.
Yes or no? Do they come back into this?
No.
Okay, well, the desk says no. Sideshow and Brent, what do you guys think?
It's going to take the pistol round, I think, to start things off for any sort of comeback on this map. It'll take the pistol round.
I mean, if you think they're going to come back, you might be taking the pistol round as well. I think that we are set up here for a fantastic map 3.
Yeah.
You know, as Achilles is saying on the desk, Haven is one of those maps that I would have also expected PRX to go for, and PRX have the advantage on. But who knows with this? I wasn't expecting Icebox to be this one-sided.
Yeah, honestly, would have said it on, I think, both of the maps that we've seen so far, but all that pressure that's being applied just through the choke point, that's going to force out the horns and the wall as well, portions of it being broken off. In fact, the killer already being found.
There goes Smoggy. The pistol ace stab that EDG have brought in has been very good in these kind of rounds.
Still trying to take
it.
Okay.
Divide just about being able to pick up the second one.
This is what you're going to see from Edward Gaming, is that they are not going to be afraid still to get straight into the action. Kills being found backwards, forwards, this way, that way. The wall dropped up. Looking away across now, all up to Chichu. Still being watched off. But players are low enough here that there is a possibility. It's going to be that double face, though, that eventually shuts it down. And so the pistol round is...
Apakah iya comeback adik-adik?
Yeah. For EDG, I don't think you need to be doing anything crazy here, no force buy or anything like that. You have such a massive lead. But Now, if you want to talk about the comeback being a possibility here, I mean, take a look at this as well. Smoggy's last official match, July, as a member of Weibo Gaming. So he's not normally a player for this team. That's the other part that I was talking about earlier. He's not somebody that's been in and out of EDG, a long-time sub. He's somebody that they've got in at the last second for Istanbul and found fantastic success so far in this match.
Yeah.
If we're going to talk, though, about the potential for a comeback during this, I hope, short technical pause.
Listen, it had to happen at some point, Josh.
It did. Well, I'm glad it's here, though. But the PRX attacking side, in general, not specific to Icebox, but in general, is very good. It's one of the big areas that they have a massive advantage over EDG, usually, the attack side. But that's about delivering bonus rounds. That's about being able to manipulate EDG and get entry picks as well. A lot of those things have not really been going their way over the course of this entire series. And it was a short tech pause. I knew
it was.
Super quick.
Good job. You didn't curse it. As soon as you said that, I was like, why did you? Why did you? But listen, we're getting back into it.
So these kind of rounds, a good opportunity to take a look at how EDG are defending. So it's a bit of a multi-purpose Viper wall over on B that HaLu is throwing down.
Playing fast and loose at the positioning, though. Looks like they've already rotated a lot of the bodies over towards this one side. Can they try and take the fight? The answer is yes. That's going to be a trade. In fact, another one just underneath belt. Just underneath the rafters, I should say. Still looking for a couple more with the pistols.
The Jesus
just running and gunning, man.
A Mind Freak, he didn't have a weapon until just now.
It's done the Mind Freak.
Oh my god.
What a thrifty. And that has put the nail in the coffin, Brent. If there was any hope of a comeback, it's gone now. It's gone.
I mean, just completely unexpected. You asked me to predict this match as well.
Look at the skill involved here. I mean, EDG are never out of these kind of rounds.
I love this as well, though, the play when they're on this eco round. Play fast and loose at the positioning.
Yeah.
Chuck the bodies towards the side that you think that they're leaning towards. You know? Trade it out, try and play for it.
And listen, a lot of teams do that. That's not specific to how EDG are playing. To me, it's the consistency of shots being hit that's absurd.
Yeah.
And the fact they're keeping it up, winning the duels against one of the best teams we have in the world. There's Smoggy getting a bit too aggressive without support, however.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a showcase, honestly, of maybe the gap with Life not playing. Because Smoggy was out in the open there. There was no one covering that belt angle. Chichu does not play here. Well, the Horn spotted him, and the C's on top of it. Latches him in position, and it's set up Forsaken beautifully. 2 kills to open it up now.
Uh-oh.
Playing weed inside that Viper's orb.
And that could have been an opportunity had HaLu found 2. Left to Kankan. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
PRX have another lifeline with which to play. EDG, though, is still going to be able to buy up possibly into the next round. Not great credits by any measure, but
saving, right? Yeah.
They could go for something mad with a force buy where Kankang's using his headhunter bullets and stuff, but I think always the better option to play safe when you have such a lead. The opportunities are going to present themselves. However, good utility usage coming out from Benkai there to clear the Jenny position. Excellent entrying from Forsaken. And I think if there's any hope for comeback, the attacking first duels are going to be what decides it. Forsaken, Jing need to be so sharp with their entries. And coming into this tournament, Brett, Kankang has been destroying first duels. This is absurd, but he's been winning 2/3 of his opening duels. No one else in the tournament comes even close. Most people are around 50%.
Sure.
Every half, Kankang averages a 3-to-1 KD in terms of first duels.
Yeah.
And no one else is close in the tournament. But the advantage that PRX has is that they have Forsaken and Jing to try and take those battles.
They're being supported well. So Benkai's utility as well
that sets him up for
supplemented the A push.
You don't have to just go for the raw aim duels, of course you don't.
Yeah, precisely.
But PRX are going to be asked to do almost the impossible here in recovering 7 rounds in a row on their attack side and making that timeline look like a joke by the end of it.
That's why things might get a little bit more difficult as well. Obviously, the timeout being taken for the next round. Gaming are going to be playing for this one. 2 hero rifles.
Bring them down.
A heavy presence in mid, actually, watching this one. It's going to be that clash, I think. A bit of a battle taking place. Yes, indeed. Straight for a tube. That's Smoggy. He's rattling off the shots. He's going to be healed himself up as well. Collects another one for his troubles.
Already Kankan on the push, though.
Hey, oh, my goodness. Coverage needs to be in play. You don't want to be using that weapon.
Yeah, good luck being able to execute the flank with the shorty now. Headhunter bullets expended. What? What? I don't think Divine intended to go for that one.
Yeah, that's an unusual one. Still, they're going to be able to get space gained onto that A site, but they have handed over the weaponry, at least exchanged here and there. No more rifle taken out of the hands of him.
And it looks like a position where Jing should get punished, and he does Jing things again and cleans them both up.
That's a wild round.
But they're going to have rifles back in their hands.
I was curious, honestly, as well, whether or not they were going to be trying to save a bit of their money as well, get the operators online on the defensive side, but no, just opting into the rifles being played.
Yeah, Kankan opts a lot more than Devi or Forsaken on PRX. Even if you combine Devi and Forsaken together, Kankan still uses the operator more than they do.
Yeah.
Opting not for it in this case, but a tour de force out for Devi on the attack side.
You want to play,
doesn't normally play
play
these kind of situations too aggressively, more just to support the rest of his team. But Devi has the spike heading towards A right now, and it is such an aggro setup from EDG.
What face from EDG? Kankan takes the fight, nobody's trying to bail him out, but at least there is the swing. Forsaken's able to trade it, but you never expect the follow-up. Smoggy's still up top on Bell, all the knives expended. Forsaken's just trying to get the hell out of there.
2 players up. Jing, if he finds a kill, will have the res back online. Bodies all over the place. And Chichu on the fast flank.
The angle. Tap the rifle, repositioning, that's a spike drop down.
That's a res, but that also gives time for Chichu to start working his way forwards and deny these bodies. Sorry, apologies, misreading that one. Thought that was Jing that we were watching. It's Forsaken, of course.
He's managed to grab the spike. He's after this fight, it's being taken! Bit of run and gun in play! Hadong, he forces the favorable fight, he doesn't go down. That's gonna be that 12th round here for Icebox.
GG, next game.
EDG have just been... that defensive setup definitely bodes taking a look at again. They had an aggressive Viper smoke that Smoggy was inside of, and Smoggy is then able to swing out on Belt off the back of everyone else's aggression. That is such a good defensive setup for A aggression that I haven't seen other teams using. EDG bringing fresh ideas to the table at their first time at a global event. And they're just looking masterful.
Dash to the side. That's a nice
play.
Impeccable crosshair placement from Smoggy.
And absolutely fearless. I mean, just not worried about Forsaken running into him there at all.
Just anticipating the wide swing as well.
And that's a first death. PRX cannot afford it. They need 7 rounds in a row clean.
The res, but it's so far out in the open. They're walling for it.
Oh!
Breaks a portion. Brutal! But the spam is there. There is going to be coverage in play. Recon against the side. They heard the drop. Mindfreak's going to be closer towards base. It's going to be that double swing now. PRX have to be clean with the fundamentals. Have to be clean with the gunplay. They are coming out at least on top of that one short engagement. There's still a minute left. They could pump the brakes if they wanted to, but it looks like they're opting to just try and take the fight right into the barrel of Kankan. And he's pushing back up, re-clearing into the position. 2 of the players left standing. All of these liberties being taken. This could be it, the final blow. And it's just down to the singular player. Devi cannot stand up against it. Map number 3.
We're going to the game of Game 3.
And the questions start to get answered. EDG are for real. No matter which way this third map goes, over on Haven. The analyst desk was saying it leans towards PRX, but it doesn't matter in my head which way it goes. A 13-5 victory on Icebox shows me that EDG have got it. They are able to bring it against the best teams in the tournament.
Yeah. Just that bit of nuance extra on top of the raw mechanical ability that they've been showing over and over and over again.
And we were talking about maybe the aggression from EDG being a bit reckless. That was the other way around. Yeah. They were the ones, it was EDG that were pumping the brakes. EDG that were manipulating defender rotations. And actually, it was PRX whose attack rounds looked a bit more one-dimensional. Yeah. Always just leaning 5 players towards A. Never an ability to pivot once you got to the mid-round.
Looks, well, we were pulling out.
What a nice play.
I mean, nobody has just been an absolute star in particular, I mean, Icebox, a map that he is more than comfortable with. Players are feeling it. The confidence is there. Momentum is on their side as we head into map number 3. It's going to be Haven.
And despite the fact that this is just an opening game in groups, the first game of Champions, it does feel like there's still stakes on the line.
Yeah, high-octane gameplay. We're going to go to a short break, and on the other side of things, of course, again, our analyst desk will break down all the action and set up that critical map number 3 in our opening match, so don't go anywhere.
Red Bull gives you wings.
GG.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Oh ya, besok break. Oke, break dulu 2 menit ya.
Want them.
What a response from Edward Gaming! They win dominantly on map 2, which means we are going to map 3. I'm your host, Yingsu, and I'm back here with Achilles and Mimi. What a showing from EDG, and for them to close it out in that fashion as well.
Yeah, I mean, EDG, they come out from a pretty heartbreaking loss on map number 1 and absolutely turn it on the head here on Icebox. PRX don't elect to go into the Haven. They head instead to a map that has historically been good for them, but EDG showed up so well prepared and was super good to punish the aggression that PRX gave.
And that's all I can really expect moving forward into map 3 is that they're going to continue to look incredibly well prepared. We talked about time and time again, Haven has been basically their permaban map, but they decided to leave it open, so it can only make me assume that they are continuing to just develop new strategies, come up with new strats, and on Haven in particular, maybe they have finally got that map mastered.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, when they kind of initially were hearing about EDG and watching this team online, they were like, okay, there's kind of 2 big players that we're talking about for them, but everyone stepped up in this, and we saw in some of these rounds just how cool it was. They had some really great calls on this fly, and showing the kind of mid-splits was a big part of that, right? The updraft into the dash to get that spike down. You use the same Viper wall, so they don't know it's going to be a split. Initially, it was that fake towards A, and then a crossfire established in halls. The layers for EDG are lovely to look at. On the fly, the calling was excellent throughout this map, and it took quite a while for PRX to find an adaptation.
Yeah, it really did, and by the time they did, it was far too late. You know, especially when you get that anti-eco victory coming in from EDG and going into the second half and whatnot. It was just, they turned everything around on its head, and they consistently looked utterly incredible. Nobody, again, somebody that I was talking about before, had shown an ace before during the LCQ on this very map, managed to replicate it again here in this series, but the whole way throughout just was right there, backing up his squad. Some of those dart timings that he was getting in through, just to get the reveals out, yeah, like that. It's just impeccable. Yeah, it was absurd, some of the stuff that he was pulling off. This EDG team is so clutch across the board. We saw it on Pearl. We saw it here again. On this attacking side, it wasn't just the, like, across the team adaptations, the new calls. It was also when it came down to the individual. No matter the pressure, no matter this being their first time on the stage, every single one of these players was ready and was coming out with some of those lovely clutches.
I mean, Kankan was talking about how he was really worried about potentially being nervous. I don't see any nerves coming from any of those players as we head to Haven as well, because this is going to be the final map of the series.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. You've talked a lot about what we're expecting from Haven thus far, Achilleos, but I don't know what to think now, because EDG has shown us such a great element of preparation there on Icebox. I think something is cooked up for Haven.
I think, like I said, it has to be. They knew coming into this that this was going to be their biggest weakness. They either could have left this in the pool and maybe, you know, or banned it away and then allow for Pearl to potentially come in. They said, no, actually, we're going to let both of them through. We're going to play on both of those maps in our very first series. So they have to have a hell of a lot of confidence now with whatever adjustments they're making for this map.
Yeah, but talk of confidence, they've had it thus far this series. Even in their loss on Pearl, the vibes were high. We're right next to them here, and you can hear the yells from this team. They are excited. They are ready. They are not feeling the pressure in this series thus far. But with that substitute, it really could throw a wrench into play, because for PRX, they run a really coordinated setup here on Haven. The Fade Raise in the past has looked like one of the best implementations of that composition.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a hell of a lot of pressure on all of the players, but like you said, it doesn't feel like they're really feeling that too much. I was able to talk to Kankan when we first kind of got settled at the hotel, and he was saying, oh, you know, I think I'm a little bit nervous about this, and I was like, why? There's no audience. And he was like, oh, you're right. Actually, I think I'll be okay. Like, literally just like that. He's like, okay, now that you mentioned that, yeah, I think everything's going to be fine. And it's showing through. This guy has so much confidence, and he instills it into the rest of the team.
I wish I could translate some of what they're actually saying on stage, because Benkai speaks Chinese. Benkai understands what they're saying. So I don't know if he can hear them through his headset, but their energy is so high. They're very, very funny. They're trying to kind of like enjoy themselves what they can.
Ngeri Cina PRX developable yoi. Tapi yang paling gue tunggu-tunggu itu sebenarnya Boom Esport ya, Boom Esport. Yang dimana full Indonesian dan mereka harus menang. Walaupun mereka kalah, mereka udah membanggakan nama Indonesia karena masuk ke Valorant Champions. Let's go!
This map, so I'm looking forward to seeing what EDG is going to come up with.
Last map is the one-for-one change out with the Jet, but why is this going on?
We got it!
All right, so I messed this up going into the last map. This time there is a Reyna.
And the Cypher too. The Cypher has also come through.
We're picking Reyna on Haven. Their previous composition was so good here, but they've
two
Reynas similar domestically. They've played this before. I think even in the group stages back at home, and I mean, I guess it can maybe work for PRX here. You're giving up that phase raise combo, but you do have the aggression and just kind of the individual performance that you can give to Jing on that role. The Sky in the mix there as well. No Sova.
That is two Reynas I'm seeing, right? It's also Reyna on the side of EDG. Like, I'm not blind. Or am I blind?
No, it's the fade.
Oh, I thought it was Reyna.
I got debated by it last time.
It baited me. It
happens to all of us. But no, so this is the same exact composition that we saw from EDG when they just played against Onslayers in the grand final. They were able to take that. And again, this is their weakest map historically.
Yeah.
That one, I believe they got pushed 13 to 11 or so, maybe 13 to 10 in that scoreline. They're sticking with the same composition. This leads me to believe that they have to have some different strategies prepared coming in.
Yeah, it really did look rough then when they were playing that domestically. I think the improvement will come through. But what is PRX going to show us with this Reina composition? You lose out on so much utility, so much synergy when you're playing the other comps that are so much more prevalent on Haven, but you get the PRX special, you get the whimsy, you get the fun when you're playing a comp like this. It's impossible to prepare for a Reina Jet Sky comp on Haven. You just don't see that. So EDG, again, the pressure will be on to be making those changes, being ready for this comp on the fly.
Well, EDG, they made Jing angry, it seems. Saisho and Bren, we have a Reina going to the final map of this series.
Absolute scenes that we're seeing heading into map number 3. Pure ego play, I think, picking the Reina into this one. An old comp for PRX, but I think it tells a clear path, honestly. We are better than you. We want to take fights against you. We want to go toe-to-toe once more.
Are they better? What, has that been the course of this?
It's been missing, honestly. I think EDG have shown more nuance than PRX over the course, at least of that second map on Icebox, but now we're heading into Haven. Different series of events. The way they play this Reina as well is quite interesting. I mean, often it's just disrespecting any sort of utility that's played in that. Lobby control, definitely. You see it used a while back as well for PRX, but this is comfort roles for Forsaken and Jing.
It is. They played it in the group stage of Masters Reykjavik. And they got wins over DRX, and they got wins over the Guard, but they were close wins. And then they got destroyed by Zeta Division. And EDG have actually been playing fairly slowly, playing fairly disciplined in this match so far.
And look at this.
Can they figure out how to play against this comp?
Rendezvous with his feet, close hold to the corner. It's a half clear.
Oh, nice.
It's a mistake to make. And Kang Wild just teleports right to safety. Trademark's going to be destroyed, but he's still watching down a flank. In fact, look at this. It's going to be a flash to try and supplement it. Contact play off of it. He hears the footsteps running around. Does a decent amount of damage. And the work has already been put into this one, but the spike dropped down.
And EDG are playing their post plans all from long. And this is actually something that they were doing a lot online. But I wasn't too much of a fan about it. I think the player advantage here, it should be enough.
They're trying to spam this one with pistols, man. It's already
be
smoked off. Half on it. It's shaking it all the way. A big guy. That's one way to get a Red Bull clutch.
Oh. I think that round sums up everything.
Ball of steel. Pros never fake.
For EDG. Amazing plays from Kang, reading the play perfectly out here as well. The rendezvous, the second fight, it's all great. But their post-plan play on Haven has been, in my opinion, atrocious online.
That is really bad.
And that's what the desk was talking about. Haven has not looked amazing for EDG, but they're already looking incredible in this match so far. So the desk was saying, maybe it's something different. Maybe they have new strats cooked up. It's a bit of a worrying beginning, but that's another good start.
Okay, just running it straight down. Not going to be rewarded with this one. Forsaken Cloudburst has to dash into it, has to escape. An onslaught that's appearing right now onto the A side. No one's cleared long. Dealed with Divine.
Oh.
Just been sitting in long. No one's clearing him out. And he is that extra element that they needed to supplement to try and stop that push happening.
That's PRX saving 3 Spectres going into the next round as well.
That'll be quite a fast map.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really pacey map. EDG actually, the way that they play Haven, they do have some slower rounds with big executes at the end, but I think PRX are going to force the issue over and over again. Wow, what a wild stat that is. PRX have a 1-4 record when facing the closing map in a series internationally. PRX, I guess, just kind of destroy people most of the time.
Yeah.
They don't need to get into these scenarios or get forced into these scenarios often. I would still consider them favored here, even running the Jet Reina comp. But who knows? This series has made a believer out of me when it comes to Edward and his gaming.
Adjustments being made to that defensive setup as well. So you can see that they're not really putting too much into that A lobby control on the defensive side for PRX.
Yeah, shifting Benkai over there with one of his trap wires. Still with the cam watching into Garage, even though Jing is playing there.
I think that's as well, just don't give away too many cues that they might have swapped up.
And this EDG attack setup looks like one of PRX's. There's the lurk play. Kang forcing the issue a bit earlier than Forsaken normally does, but still coming away with the kill.
Still holding a closer corner as well, anticipating that there's going to be that re-clear for information.
He's so aware!
And he's found Jing.
Kang is such a good player. He's just got the read on where people are going to challenge him.
Here comes the push attempt, though. So much on the line here for Benkai to try and do some work, but there's a paranoia in his face, an aftershock at that. He wants to try and weave and play
Flash from heaven.
inside of this one. Flash through's got another players are down and out, surely. It's going to be dealt with. Another device up there, but timing is everything. A quick maneuver around the smoke, but that's an instantaneous trade.
Unfortunately, with Spectre in hand, Benkai just didn't have enough firepower to be able to get the spray transfer there. And Mindfreak, instead of going for a 1v4, we've seen incredible things from Mindfreak at Copenhagen and in this match, actually.
Sure.
Pulling out, though, I think it was a 1v5 on Pearl, but this is just not one that you go for with the spike already down.
Yeah, a percentage play just to save it up, but...
And what an interesting dynamic this is, because EDG are playing a composition that PRX are pretty familiar with. Of course, they don't run the Jet, they run the Raze, but the rest of the comp with the Breach, with the Fade, they're familiar with how this kind of setup works, despite the fact that PRX run a slightly different version of it. And the question is how they deal with these kind of threats. And in this round, the big threat was Kangkang's Lurk coming through mid. And you saw him take a duel against Forsaken, immediately wins it. And reads the repush from Jing, immediately reads that. If Forsaken and Jing can't shut this guy down, who can?
And so many of our questions being answered, I think, with Edward Gaming, obviously. Kangkang, this guy on the global stage, we knew he was a freak of nature. We knew that he was going to be playing aggressively, but that bit of nuance that's been injected into his play, whatever the short time that they've had here in their practice, I think has taught them a lot of lessons, and now you have a very, very dangerous individual.
EDG still not in the lead though, and this is a big round for them to be able to convert. Ooh. The Cypher setup is still not here.
Trying to play inside their own smoke as well. The flashes pushing into the back there with the Prowler, and that's an aftershock. Jing trying to make the moves again. Do they expect this third player at the back of the site? The answer is yes.
Perfect. Just really nicely done from EDG. Oh, and Devi completely caught. With utility in his hands, Benkai simply going to run away.
Yeah, you're not getting away, son.
And getting chased down.
That's what I mean. Not going to be letting them get away with a rifle. And even with Benkai should be favored there. Not quite. Prime Gaming flawless.
EDG running some of the similar executes, but it's not necessarily the execute and the utility usage that's so good on these site hits. To me, it's the way that they, I mean, that is great utility to clear out that angle, but I think it's the way that they all push up together, that how tight they are to each other. When they get into a site, there's no gaps on their execute, they all support each other. That means even if Smoggy isn't getting a 3K, even if Smoggy isn't 8-1 right now, they are still getting the trades off. And PRX are going to get challenged here. Unless they can get Jing in a position to duel frequently and use his dismiss. He's getting no value from the Reyna.
The same opening setup time and time again. And look at it, the aftershock. Second round in a row. Forsaken tries to evacuate, but Dash are just catching him again. Over and over again.
These last couple of rounds, PRX have been made to look silly. Of course, this time not with any guns in their hand.
Rolling.
I think part of it, too, is that EDG have been able to avoid Benkai's setups. And I don't think that that is a deliberate, conscious effort. It doesn't feel like EDG are poking at the beginning of the round to get information on where the Cypher's playing. They've just happened to go to the right areas of the map.
They've gone for the same A-lobby play.
Yeah,
almost every single
A-lobby
time.
or a CX.
Chichu goes for the teleport, and they just try and fight over, you know, short and long, but
yeah,
it's nothing really that's being changed up. Like you said, no poking for the setups.
It's just default Valorant gameplay on Haven with this comp.
And that's what it comes down to, I think. When you're up against the Reyna as well, it's pure ego. It's a decision being made by PRX, I think, to say that we will be winning these fights against you.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the game plan is clear. The last time that we watched PRX play with this Jet Reyna comp, they're trying to avoid utility and still set up Forsaken and Jing to take fights. The idea being, you know, even with a Prowler in your face, as Reyna or Jet, you can take that fight and then dash away and not get punished. At least that's the theory. But so far, Forsaken and Jing haven't been in position to take fights when the execute comes in. And when they do take fights, they're dying anyway to Smoggy and Kangkang. And Jing's had a bit of a brutal one of it in the last 2 rounds, just
second round in a row.
Getting caught out by those aftershocks.
That's been perfect placement in there. No gaps.
Oh, what is that?
Smoggy is on a tear.
That was through the aim punch.
The guy is 10-1. Admittedly, obviously, when the confidence is there. Now an operator in the hands of Forsaken. Is this the change-up they need?
Using the Trailblazers to set up on A short. And this is the first time that EDG have gone for mid control.
That is so risky.
It really is, from both players actually, jumping onto the line.
Benka's got a difficult task ahead of him. That paranoia pushes him back. A couple of straight bullets. Now the Cam spots the positioning. He knows the amount of players that are going to be lurking and making their way now onto C site. Can the players lock it down? Spam onto the angle, a wider swing, Jing. That's going to be 2. Returns it back. The timing is everything. The Seekers, they give them exactly what they needed. They know that the last 2 players of Edward Gaming are going to be now sitting on the C site.
HaLu with his ultimate here, if they can give the spike and they swap it over.
Low.
The spike now onto the Omen, who fakes the plant and can ult over to A. Ah, Chichu though, he ends up going down, Forsaken with the operator flank. Not quite expected.
Unlucky with the timing still.
And what could have been a courageous clutch attempt is actually the first round where PRX are able to anchor a site.
It's, yeah, the first time you start to see a bit of value, I think, as well out of this Reina pick. Jing getting the only 2 kills that he's got so far on this map, but it's enough to stop the push right in his tracks, and you'll see here from the replay. Beautiful stuff.
Really nice gunplay, but actually not making use of Reina. I mean, it wasn't like he's using the dismisses to dodge through utility and take fights he couldn't otherwise. Sure, it might give him some confidence to take those kind of duels, but that's a pretty standard anchoring position, no matter what agent he's playing. EDG with a couple of ultimates to play around with here. And Kankang pushed away from mid. That's information gained that there was a mid push, and they go into the C exec. This time, Benkai is ready and waiting. Does it make a difference?
They're already going to be using the pull to try and disjoint this one. Teleport to the back of the side. Benkai, his information is revealed right into the trap wire. You're revealed. Locked down, Mindfreak swinging through, 3 kills. And now 2 left standing. Chichu and nobody. The close corner. It's going to be the dash enabled and the blade still running forward. And a quick little jiggle of the movement. Even a dismiss on top of it. Dashing right into the face of their adversaries. Another one to pile up on top when it comes to the rounds.
And there's the value that you're getting out of Benkai's setups. Benkai able to use his cage there. Manages to dodge a flash as well. Sets up backside control for Mindfreak, who gets another one off the trap wire. And Kankan can't trade properly. No. He can't trade even though he's in the right position because he's using an operator. There's the value that you're getting from Benkai. And that time, EDG happened to go into it. At some point, I mean, it feels like EDG...
Time out from EDG, finally.
3-4 down, thanks to the pistol round and the follow-up being taken by PRX. And at some point here, turns out right now, EDG are going to have to try and adapt their play. And I think part of it has got to be finding those setups from Benkai. Instead of just gambling on a site execute, you need to know that there isn't a Cypher waiting there.
There hasn't been that early poking, I think, to try and spot out where those setups are. At any point, it's been honestly full frontal aggression off the rip.
And I think those info plays are actually quite difficult to do, maybe more difficult than I'm giving it credit for, because you're being pressured consistently by Forsaken and Jing in the early round, right? They're hunting for fights. You saw in the previous round, Forsaken and Jing are take fights aggressively in mid, and that funnels a reactive play from EDG into the C site. So, I think EDG a bit more patience is going to be helpful for them. If you play fast, you're playing at PRX's tempo right now. You've got to find a way to slow the game down. And I think Kankang is your player to lean on there. Tour de force in hand for this round. Getting set up on angles where you think Forsaken and Jing are going to take fights, all you need is a teammate to break, you know, a Leah that's going to come your way. It's not a utility-dense composition that PRX are using.
Entire kitchen sink just being dumped into short there. Prowler is destroyed though, and that's what we were talking about earlier. Making sure somebody's there to get rid of the utility.
And these are the kind of pauses in the round where EDG just pump the brakes and they're waiting to see if Forsaken's going to get antsy. He doesn't need to be. There's a camera behind him, he's holding a strange off angle, and Devi is able to still get information on the other side of the map, using a flash to realize that there's somebody in grass.
Prowler. Now the operator is in play. They know this one. Sees is actually latched onto. Forsaken on top of it. Haunt into the corner.
No way.
Make sure he's actually repushing right into the angle. How do you get away with it? How?
That should never work. And Forsaken goes for it, goes 1 for 1. Is that beneficial though? Benkai still has his setup over on A. Just gonna leave Jing with that Cypher utility.
Try to trap wire, smoke going up onto the connector. Now Spike. Start to be planted. Bit of spam.
Oh,
Finding
there
the
goes,
exact angle.
There goes the Rolling Thunder. Now it's all down to Smoggy. Because these players in mid are not going to be able to hold off the retake on their own.
This reflank is everything. Cosmic Divide is going to be splitting up, and of course there's going to be aggression there, but Jing really matches it. Pound for pound! Bit of whiffage, now the knives come out into play. Information going to be revealed, but the knife still once more, one after another, down to the 1v1. A right click, not enough. No knives really finding their mark, and a tap on a Spike. Mind Freak, cool, calm, and collected. Deals that final blow necessary.
What a play by Mind Freak. I think he's 18 and 5 in 1v1s recently. I mean, unless I missed one earlier on in the game, but either way, this guy has just been phenomenal recently in the clutch.
Shout out
and
to
the cool,
prior.
The cool way that he deals with this one, tapping to fake the defuse and then setting up on a wide angle, forcing Smoggy to go and check to make sure he's not sticking.
Really intelligent.
Really well played. And both teams currently have 3 gun rounds to their name, right? But PRX still have that advantage of winning the pistol at the beginning. Aside from that though, it has been so dead even. And I like the approach from EDG after taking their time down a little bit. I think that round could have definitely worked.
That's probably why you're seeing the PRX time being taken here. Even if they came on top of that last round. Just really talking about what they can potentially do, because that was a complete switch up in terms of the pace that was being taken. Their attack side rounds. Possibly maybe trying to anticipate now how HaLu's ult's going to be used, because he's been hanging on to this Rolling Thunder for God knows how long.
And that's what I'm not quite understanding. HaLu should have opportunities to use the Rolling Thunder and push PRX into retake. PRX play retakes the least out of everybody at Champions. Only less than half the time PRX are playing retakes. They're always trying to fight you before you get to the site. So even if you just use the ult to secure the spike plant, that's value. This Jet Reyna comp is rubbish at retakes. I mean, it's just got no utility to retake on you. So why not try and get value out of the breach hole? What are you holding it for? A post-plant setup maybe? Or maybe just trying to force PRX to play around it? But honestly, that's only going to make Forsaken and Jing more aggressive. Here comes the Nightfall.
Yeah, a lot being dumped into this one now. Even the updraft over the top. That's going to be the trap wire though. That reveals the positioning of Kang. The counter spam is there, but again, Benkai setups are just far too clean, man.
No way.
Far too clean. Everyone revealed to him.
And with Kang down, Jing now gets the flank off. The trademark disabled. Jing is so deep into A, and Benkai continues to taunt them.
Yeah. Camera just tagging a couple of players. Off to the back of the side, Jing. I don't know if you deserve that one, but that is the prime game of Flawless at the end of the day. And you're starting to see it. The momentum, the pistol round built into this one, they're able to snowball that advantage in this half.
Even when they play a retake setup, it's not a retake. They still stop the plant from going down because PRX play so fast. And they're playing off the kill trips. Jing is smart enough to realize with the chamber down, he can go for the fast flank play. It's gorgeous stuff from PRX, and they're starting to flex their muscles a little bit. Remember who they are, lean on that experience, make the right adaptations, and get big value out of the Jet Reyna here.
Fight immediately taken. That's that confidence. It's the ego in play.
Oh.
Maybe just overstepping himself though.
Yeah, not a fan of that re-peek from Divide, because Jing was so far away. Had Jing stayed to fight, that would have been...
Oh, nice one, Jinx.
But Jing is Jing at the end of the day. He's still going to be able to pick up another.
Jinx like to jiggle.
Still going for these pushes, man. This is what you got to be careful of.
You do not want to give EDG an opportunity back in. To the round, to the half, to the map.
Star drop down. It's going to be the smoke. That was actually just a pullback. Mind Freak just wants to
such an aggressive position.
Yeah, I mean,
so
he's avoided this horde though, and nobody is looking towards him. Amazing timing with that one. Kang does at least grab the trade. The return finds the other one. Even time for a bit of a spray in between, weaving that one in and out of the shots.
And Benkai is in a really rough spot right now.
This round, Josh, should not have been close.
No, it shouldn't at all.
30
And
seconds
PRX
left.
have made enough mistakes. And Kankang's hit enough nice shots that it comes down to a 1v1. Benkai looking at Garage.
No way.
Oh no.
That's a good clutch by Benkai.
Oh my god, the BM, oh my god. The disrespect. I want to see the chat. I want to see the chat. Oh my god.
Round for them not to lose. They were in such a good lead. PRX. You can push the limits, but they are coming up with.
He banging, oh my god.
Gaming end up wandering into these setups. A bit of a gamble, I think, but when they do jump into Benkai when he's running the Cypher, almost every single time it's managed to shut them down. Playing a clean game.
I think I caught Forsaken there saying, I just can't kill him. Forsaken 4 and 7 right now. Struggling a little bit to take the duels against Smoggy and Kankang, but the rest of his team doing a decent job.
Doesn't get dodged. There's no kill to be found. That does not give Jing the escape mechanism that he was looking for.
It was the Flash Horn combo from Haldong and Nobody. EDG love using that. It's such a great combination.
Nice anti-flash position being played by Nobody. Devi, he's punished.
Devi was just flashing off the back of the Prowler. And both attempts at PRX of getting aggressive shut down by EDG. What a pick by Nobody!
Eventually, though, got to shut that guy down. So the trade is there for Forsaken, but the setup is being taken out. Forsaken, Operator, Cloud Burst, blocks the angle. There is just ever so slightly in there, and he just sees an elbow, but that is enough.
Forsaken was missing a lot of those op shots. But that connection gives him an opportunity back in the round. No way you're going for this one.
Bullet in the Operator. Rolling Thunder pushes them back. Paranoia up top. Maybe they heard him. Up into heaven there. Even the aftershock. Okay. Jumping, hopping around the corner, staying safe for the time being because they know that the time pressure right now is on PRX to make the moves. You can see them jumping forward. Smoggy deals with it.
Smoggy, you play so good, man.
And if you were following along with our little mini game, when is Haldong going to use the Rolling Thunder?
There it is.
There it is in that round to stop the 2v3 clutch that may have been coming through.
Did you blast skill? It's like
amount of value, but
Edward Gaming di carry aja.
PRX have only won 4 retakes across this entire series, but also
They got smooth. They got smooth.
The team that plays for them, they play for retakes the least out of all of our teams at Champions. They want to fight you aggressively and stop the spike going down. And I think a lot of the time that ends up being the better option for them. If EDG can get this final round on the board, it's still looking like a great half.
Still looking doable. And they've shown good adaptations. Angle being watched, but again, it's another approach over towards C, another heavy execute into it, a bit of spam into the smoke. He's just holding it. Only with a shorty. Expecting maybe a player to step within his field of vision. But no, pure discipline in play, but now they have to deal with Jing. This guy looking like a final boss. AC-130 from above. Forsaken was there with the knives and updrafting, but they do deal with him in the end. And that's that 5th round for Edward Gaming.
That's the one that saves the half, that makes it look doable. EDG should have been at a disadvantage in this map. All the analysts were saying Haven should be PRX's, and I think Edward Gaming, despite the fact they didn't get out to a hot lead like they did on the prior 2, have done enough here to still make things even headed into the second.
Absolutely. I mean, this first half, all locked up now.
18
Get down
skill
as
aja.
well to our analyst desk who can break down all the action, set us up for the second half of our final map.
Thank you very much, Bren. And a sideshow. I could watch these two teams play all day, Achilleos, but PRX, they came out on top as we expected.
Yeah, I mean, so far, it's looking pretty good for them right now. They have a slight little lead. Things got off to a really rocky start for EDG, and then they started to find a little bit of stability. But you can see how close those rounds were. I mean, from the outset, they were able to get a spike plant down, and Benkai just cheekily sits there and diffuses it.
Yeah,
You know, while
that
covered
set
by
the
some
tone.
smokes. They just couldn't quite get him with those pistols at range, and from there, that was a really rocky start, but they were able to drag this back. This was looking like it was going to be a much more one-sided affair going into it.
Yeah, let's talk about Mindfreak. Brennan and Saisha mentioned in their cast that Mindfreak really made his name at Copenhagen. He was having a great tournament, and that's been continuing here so far as well, Kilios.
Yeah, he's just been incredible. When you get him down to like a clutch scenario, you can very much rely on him. His decision-making moment over moment is fantastic, which is something that you really need when you have somebody who's playing like an Astra.
Yeah, and I think his style of play has had to be very particular based off the composition that was brought out. Like the casters were mentioning, for PRX, their retakes are really, really difficult with this composition. You're kind of losing out on that big initiator retake potential, so you have to be fighting on site. They have that delay factor with the smokes and with Benkai, but Mindfreak really often was having to be that first point of rotation to aid in holding things down. But as we look ahead to that second half of play, I'm expecting another changeup. Normally Forsaken plays the chamber. He's lurking. He's playing slower on this map. I think that'll have to be Benkai, and we get just crazy double entry duo with that Jet and that Reyna. We'll have to see how EDG can stop it.
I can't wait to see it, Mimi. I'm going to throw this back so we can get back into game with Saisho and Brent.
Beautiful setup here heading into the second half now, our final map of our opening game of Champions. What a way to really set things off, isn't it?
And I think it's a great reminder from Achilles that the pistol round probably shouldn't have gone the way of PRX.
Sure.
We might easily be looking at a 7-5 half here in the opposite direction. And so this pistol means so much to both teams. I think the defense with this Fade breach comp is nasty. More so when you have the Raze on board. But even so, it's going to be a tough nut for PRX to crack.
This fault line has been held for Lord knows how long. That was the timing he was waiting for. Not quite sure what it was, but already pressure being applied now. The players just swarming out onto the site, and PRX not going to be leaving any gaps in their approach. It's going to be the spike now awarded to them so they can get themselves into this post-plant scenario. Smoke going to be fading away from Heaven, though. That's going to be an angle for Kangkang if he chooses to take it, but
Kangkang would love an opener here. Oh, being able to pick off Jing would also be amazing.
How the hell is he live for that long? But I guess just a raid boss at that point. Clean fundies, though. Clean fundies. That's the name of the game for PRX. Players ready and waiting to trade each other out.
And once more, Bren, you've got this bizarre thing occurring where PRX win around despite the fact that EDG are able to get the opening pick. Brent, in the first two maps, it's absurd. EDG are up 8 first kills compared to PRX. I mean, they're +8 in terms of the first duels compared to PRX in a one-on-one series. I mean, part of that is going to be because of how one-sided Icebox was, but it really feels like EDG are controlling the early round pretty well, and then PRX's trading is allowing them actually to still recover these 4v5s. And that's something that PRX have been very good at. They might be running into a stack here, though. This could start to get dangerous.
Trailblazer to try and clear. That's going to be a stun. Is there going to be anything off the back of it? The players are locked up right now, but they're still just brute forcing their way through. Jing, the absolute spearhead for his team there. Fearless. As they just approach into this one, left up to just nobody.
And these kind of maps are so difficult to win. When you lose both of the pistol rounds, and the first one in such heartbreaking fashion, you just 4 of those rounds just disappear. And despite nobody's best efforts, he is going to get run down by a very hot Jing right now. Jing's had a slow start to the series, but 17 and 11 happening right now. And Smoggy got off to a blinder on this map and has cooled off himself.
I'm telling you, it comes down to that Reyna pick now. Comfort rolls for Jing.
Yeah.
Going for that pound-for-pound aggression, just trying to take the fight straight to them.
Yeah. And look at how Jing is just moving forwards, utilizing all the space that Forsaken makes for him too. Jing and Forsaken work as such a duo, trading out for each other. It's crazy.
But you're right, Josh. Not a great start, losing the pistol round in the second half. Epic Game is going to take some insane stuff, I think. Layers upon layers for their strategies, I think, to get back into this one. And they do have good weaponry with the rifles in their back pocket. But it's a contact play from PRX. Bit of disrespect being shown to the utility early on, and being given so much space. Flash, Cloudburst off to the side, even the Lear as well, making sure every angle is watched for.
but it's a different approach to the defense, right? EDG's composition much better on the retakes, and they've saved, you know, Paranoia, 2 flashes, fault line, still a lot of utility to be worked with. So it is an option, whereas it wasn't for PRX.
Starting to see that util now come through. Fault line, Paranoia, dash forwards through, and the plays are being made. Nobody secures 2, but nobody has dealt with Jing. Eventually, he will go down now. And 2v2, Smoke just causing a slight sight line. The timing is so good, and a flick of the wrist from Mindfreak. Only the Spectre left down to it. The pressure, the time, it's on the shoulders of Chichu. He needs to try and get onto the spike to get that defuse online.
He's just got a smoke back. That could be the answer.
There's no time cues though. There's no time at all to work with. In fact, Opposite just saved the rifle. He knows that there's nothing to play for now, and Benkai's done his job.
And that is heartbreaking. When you get to that spot and you realize you've got to make the smart decision to escape, you feel like you're condemning your team with the 5-round deficit that EDG are now looking at.
Yeah.
Tough spot to come back from here.
10-5.
And I think while playing retake can be a pretty decent idea, you've got to be able to... I mean, that is pretty fantastic. I think you've got to be able to get Smoggy into some crazy positions. When you're playing a Jet on the retake, that's not something that people normally do right now. They're playing Raze with the Fade comps. But when you're running the Jet, you can smoke on top of default, you can dash onto it.
EDG time,
there
oh
are more
my
creative ways of playing the retake there than what Smoggy did. And maybe part of that is that he's a sub, and that he just isn't as integrated with stuff like their retake setups. But he's been so
though, would you?
Smoggy's been so good so far in this match. I sometimes find myself just forgetting that he's not baked into the team, that he isn't a
Really
regular
worth
player.
just reiterating that point that, you know, this is Edward Gaming coming in their first international tournament, at least on the global stage when it comes to these big events. They played in the East Asia LCQ to even get here, but this is, yeah, new ground, I think, for Smoggy. He's filling in one of their players. So this is not even the complete roster for EDG.
This isn't EDG playing at 100%. And they also said in interviews prior that they knew there'd been nerves coming out in these first games. And it's a double elimination in the groups. This isn't EDG going home if they're not able to mount the comeback. They'd still have an opportunity to make it out of the groups for sure. But it's all about that experience when you're a new team to the international stage, the pressure of playing these title contenders at LAN. And they've got a rough buy here.
Yeah, this...
a bin juice buy, as Pansy would say.
Phrase, but heads being ripped off one after another. You can see the attempt from Edward Gaming. They know that they have to try and fight them. But everything that they've got, spray down, a bit of a stare down.
You're popping knives!
Popping the knives, why not?
To get the ace.
Sure, confidence is there. Even a Trailblazer, they want to set him up to succeed. It's all about it, isn't it? The right-click misses, Jing just takes it anyway.
Jing stole the ace!
I mean, the pause in the character model says it all.
Oh, Forsaken can't believe it.
Distraught.
That is
distraught.
tragic. I mean, listen, Brent. If I was Coach Alex right now, I might not be too happy that Forsaken's just used his knives to chase down the last player in an ace. But
I didn't even realize that happened.
But if you're watching that kind of replay,
yeah,
maybe it would become justified. Jing, what the hell, man?
Absolute ragged moment. Oh boy.
I think that shows you some of the confidence that PRX are feeling right now. They're not under anywhere near the pressures they were prior to the maps.
This round is the backbreaker. Hang Do with an opening.
Not a very good jiggle peek by Forsaken.
No,
Kang's offered two.
Still want to take the fight. Jumping across that angle. Jing does eventually remove Kang. This guy's been a thorn in their sides throughout this series.
Hubris.
Smoke. Even a team flash. Okay.
Yeah, things looking very sloppy here for PRX in this round.
Paranoia to push them back. Flash though, supplements it. Now a dismiss, but he's right in a line of sight once more. That reflank coming into the back, and in a critical round, vital one at that for Edward Gaming to take away and win when they invested all their money into it.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's one thing to be having fun on the stage and, you know, playing for confidence. It's another to be playing sloppy and letting the enemy team back into the game. So I think for PRX here, yeah, they've got a 5-round lead, and that is well enough to play with. You've got tons of wiggle room here. But at some point, they need to tighten the screws a little bit and not allow this one to slip away. How many times have we seen a team win 4 rounds off the rip in a half, and then the opponents get a comeback? It happens all the time.
We've covered a lot of 100 Thieves, Josh. It does happen.
Nice cloud burst to stop Kankan going for the peak. That one way.
Seeker's removed! Just quick scopes it. Chichu's there ready and waiting. That's the paranoia as well to help that swing out.
And I was talking about sloppiness from PRX, but I don't think that's an example of it at all. You expect Kankan to be pushed away there by the Seekers, but he just scopes back in so quickly with the tour de force.
Yeah.
And then Chichu's there to back him up.
That 1-2 punch, isn't it?
Smoggy's already burnt his dash, so got to back away. But that's good information. It should start to pull people away from C. There's 3 EDG players on the C side. And Smoggy is going to need help at some point.
Can't really just lock this down on his Losum.
And these are rounds where you don't want to do stuff like burn the Rolling Thunder, you know? It's possible that they could just win the round with HaLu ulting, but you kind of want to save that for situations that aren't 5v3s.
I do like this angle, though, from Smoggy. Even that fault line to help him out. I think that might have been a repeat, but there was a flash to push that one back. Still, that cage. Just try and cut up one of the angles. Trailblazer goes down. Smoggy has not been dealt with. Slight reposition, a spray down through the cloud burst. Spike down on the ground, and enough players from Edward Gaming to collect that Prime Gaming flawless once more.
Very clean round from EDG. I think that, you know, the prior round, you could say, given to them a little bit by the sloppiness of PRX, but not that one. That one was well and truly
I've
taken.
got your trail.
I mean, that shot, the quick scope there is absurd. It's been a very nice play by Chichu to reinforce Kankang's position and then reinforce Smoggy's position, anchoring A towards the end.
At this point, if you're PRX, you cannot allow your opponents to get back into this one. You have a sizable lead. This explains the timeout that they're taking right now. There needs to be adjustments being made because so far, it's been Kankang taking a lot of liberties. In fact, I mean, PRX have been doing a decent job, I think, of using utility to try and clear him out of the angles that he's often been holding. The trouble is, the guy just disrespects it.
Yeah.
Doesn't care.
Yeah. And that's the same thing that Forsaken and Jing are going to do themselves.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is why so many people have been talking about the comparisons and similarities between these two teams, because Kankang plays in a crazy, aggressive manner that is only really replicated by Forsaken and Jing out of all of our players at Champions.
Although the players themselves would argue against that in terms of the similarities. They both play, there's some fast, aggressive play styles, don't get me wrong, but you know, personally, they've, I believe it was Kankang who was saying in an interview that it, you know, doesn't really see it too much in terms of them copying their style.
Yeah, he said, we're not copying PRX, we have our own unique play style, and I think that's...
Come on, PRX.
Yeah. They don't look...
Don't draw.
They look like they have their own approach to things.
No prisoners.
And they've been very creative with the defensive setups. Here's a 3-player stack over towards mid.
And I gotta say, one of the most important rounds potentially now in this map.
If you lose, kalau misalnya PRX kalah round ini, save next round.
There is a cam, a triple push, but now the Nightfall, they want to try and fight this one, but the Nightfall is not catching on to anyone. Fight still being taken, that's Mindfreak all the way into the
Oh, nice.
The angle is watched.
And this retake setup is not looking particularly great here. They don't know where Mindfreak is. There's players behind as well, but Forsaken's reading the game very nicely.
Yeah, they've dealt with this one. Great amounts of discipline.
EDG.
Still though, you don't want to lose your grip on this round. Not when it was handed to you. A slight jiggle there of the movement. Nobody has been baiting these shots impeccably. But now this late lurk that's coming through is everything from Mindfreak. He needs to get value out of this one, but he hasn't spotted it. Maybe just the cape, but he knows the players are pushing up. It's down now to Chichu.
And this one he can go for.
Flying back around, he's aware of this one. Flick to the side, not enough. The shot does not find his target. It's Mindfreak again. And now, one more round will do it for PRX.
Yeah, they move up to match point here. One away from being able to take that next step in the group stage and push EDG as the first team to lose a match at Champions. But I've only been impressed with what I've seen from this Chinese team at their first appearance globally.
Kelihatan dari muka itu kayak kaget deh. Kaget dia, guys.
By Mindfreak's extremely safe positioning. He was over in the same area of the map that he is now, simply waiting for the fast flank through mid.
Yeah.
And that's what he's going to be doing quite a lot here, just controlling the flanks, controlling the aggression, using Benkai's cam.
This is aggressive though.
It's a double op setup here that EDG are running. And I don't think PRX have enough utility to be able to push both operators away. They've just got to hope that, you know, Kankang remains static over here on C.
Here.
If Kankang starts roaming around as well as Smoggy, PRX might be in a bit of trouble.
Cam just being used to clear close, but not really expecting, I think, that the players could be there. And still, you can see this is just still leaning in a recall as well. Sets up Forsaken. That's a great angle. I think Smoggy was just obviously unaware in terms of which way he should place that crosshair placement, but now we're seeing a B hit. This hasn't been done much by PRX on our attack sides, but it could be the final blow, that killing blow that they need to take the series. Quick tap of it. That does force out the aftershock and a bit of the utility.
HaLu retains control over the rolling thunder.
Chichu. Everything coming down to that angle. He fires off the shots now, but time is running low, Josh. 30 seconds in this one, and you can feel a bit of overheat, maybe a bit of pressure being applied to both of these players. The quick shot! Okay, why not? Wide swing from Jing to return fire from an opposite side of the map, but now with that Cosmic Divide split across, they know that the play is happening over towards A.
There's a rolling thunder here that should just block the plant from going down entirely.
Not going to be able to get this one off. They need to find the kills. Flash over the top. That's going to be Jing finding it, but they still need to get the spike down, and they've just about stuck it, but now they deny it. Swing from Jing. Can't get the second. Salvaging it.
Kankang peeked that at the end as well, Brent.
He could have thrown it. He could have thrown it.
They denied the plant, and he goes for...
He could have thrown it.
He goes for the kill. I mean, that is just kind of absurd, but that kill itself is bonkers too. PRX trying something different in this attack round, where they faked a push towards B, and they tried to get Forsaken lurking, the same way he does when he plays Chamber. But Forsaken got picked off, the Astral ended up being useless, and EDG able to hold on as the time ticked down low, especially with Mindfreak's lurk getting caught as well. Both lurks failing from PRX in that round.
Aggressive play from HaLu Gaming down into mid, but they don't gain too much space off of it. In fact, it's nobody who's been pressured the most. Fast approach. Aggression is the name of the game.
Oh, nice.
Flash over the top. How long just left like a sitting duck at the back.
Nice. Oh my god, for a second.
Relentless with the play. The Bladestorm in his hands. This guy is a weapon of death.
Mereka nggak tahu kata-kata rem anjing. Beda sama Edward Gaming kan. Dapat 2 kill, rem dulu, dapat 2 kill, rem dulu, dapat 1 kill, rem dulu.
Any sort of value here. It's a brutal cross with the cloud burst.
It's the one with the re-swing is there at the end of the day, and it's just down to Kankang. This is it, surely. 1 shot found, 2 players remaining, 3 players remaining, excuse me. Drops down to the floor, and not enough, just can't quite reset the aim. The 13th round secures it and seals the deal for the opening match of champs.
Ren, if the rest of the games at Champions are anything like that one, this could be the best tournament yet.
What an up to it, hasn't it, Josh?
It really has.
To it. The quality of play from every team at every single international event, these global tournaments, getting up to this point has just been going up and up and up and up. There are no weak teams in this tournament.
No. And normally these opening games of groups are not going to have too many stakes attached to it. If you lose it, you've still got to route back through. If you win it, you've still got to play more in order to qualify for playoffs. But this one, it felt a little different. First time seeing Pearl, first time seeing EDG on the global stage as well, and I felt like both delivered. Yeah. Not only did both teams look confident on Pearl, show us new ideas, new setups, look prepared, but we also got to see EDG crush PRX on Icebox, and we got to see Jing play Reyna.
Good looks, I think, from both sides. Yeah. You know, Jing's still got the confidence there in his back pocket to be able to carry them through a lot of these series. But EDG as well, I mean, credit to these guys. They've been playing with a sub in this one.
Yeah,
we've been iterating it every now and then over the course of the series, but they're not playing at full strength, and still they're bringing PRX, the finalists of Copenhagen, by the way, this close.
Yeah, that is just fantastic, in my opinion. Also, one of the other factors to consider here, Life is normally the player that is the tip of the spear, like how Smoggy's playing Jet there. And Life is the player that the rest of the team trade off in order to create those openings. Yeah. A fifth of the time when Life dies, he gets traded. And
that is really tough to replicate from such. I think
Oke, final score PRX masuk ke upper bracket.
in the column as predicted, because every time they've been turning up to these global events, they just get better.
They do. They make improvements time and time again, but still being tested. I think it showcased as well. A lot of people saying that this group that they're in, a bit of the group of death, isn't it? Just the fact that you've got, you know, such high caliber competition at every step of the way. There are no easy opponents.
You talk about high caliber competition, that's what we've got coming up next as well. The other side of this group. The other teams that PRX and EDG are going to be playing against here. All smiles for PRX. And that APAC rivalry, there's gonna be clashes again. There just has to be. The APAC scene has been going up and up and up over the course of this year. They are, you know, the region with the least trophies and big accolades out of the major regions, but they're getting better every time. And matches like this are special to watch because the players are absurd.
Yeah, and honestly, just the improvements that are being made on either side. Obviously, you can vote for our MVP here, Forsaken, Mindfreak, Jing. The options, make sure you use that QR code as well. Just open up the camera app as well if you know how to use it. So I've seen Golden Bush struggling from time to time, so listen, you've got to throw it out there.
Who would you go for?
Who would I go for in this one? I think Jing's monster performance in the final map definitely takes it above and beyond to a degree as well. I mean, Jing playing on space of Forsaken all the time as well. Mindfreak had some amazing moments as well, but
yeah,
it just sticks fresh in my mind, I think, with Jing.
Yeah, I think I'd be tempted to go towards Mindfreak actually, because he's one of those players where I wasn't sure what we were going to get at Champions. Yeah. I think that was a special match from him.
Okay, that's going to do it for match number 1 in the day, but it doesn't end just yet. We're going to go to a short break. Analyst Desk with all the action, of course, and setting up that critical match number 2 in the day. Don't go anywhere, you don't want to miss it.
Pertandingan selanjutnya itu adalah kalau nggak salah Leviathan versus Tim Liquid. Oke, mungkin gitu aja ya, karena PRX sudah menang, sudah masuk ke atas. Gue akan streaming orang-orang Indonesia yang ada tim Indonesianya, because why not Indo Pride and say upright. Mungkin segitu aja yang nobar kita ya. Kita nobarnya nontonin orang-orang Indonesia. Jangan lupa besok nonton kita lagi. Kita mau nobar Bumi Sport. Let's go Bumi Sport. Oke deh, sampai jumpa next time. Bye bye.